I got home from work to a message from my boyfriend, challenging me to a contest that's been trending online. Who can wear the most hideous outfit? The loser has to send the winner a 5,200 yuan red envelope. After getting all dressed up, I arrived at the meeting spot, only to be greeted by my boyfriend's girl bro. She was wearing an elaborate Lolita dress and pointed at me, laughing hysterically. Sis-in-law, have you ever seen clothes meant for a human? I just sent that text from Joe's phone on a whim, and you actually fell for it. I'm dying of laughter. My boyfriend looked at me with disgust and said, look at yourself, you look like you just escaped from a mental institution. Get out of here and stop embarrassing me. I stormed forward in anger and slapped my female friend hard, but my boyfriend shoved me onto the street. The oncoming driver, seeing me like that, was so startled that he hit the gas instead of the brake and ran right over me. I opened my eyes again, saw the message on my phone, and immediately forwarded it to my boyfriend's company group chat. Since she enjoys playing, let her have her fun. We'll see who can dress more outrageously. Loser sends the other a 5,200 yuan red packet. Seeing the familiar words on my phone, I shuddered all over, staring at the screen in disbelief, as if I could burn through it with my gaze. Without thinking, I tapped the contact and dialed, but the other side quickly hung up. I refused to give up and called again, but the result was the same. After several back and forths, the person on the other end finally turned off their phone, but not before sending me one last message urging me to dress as disgustingly as possible. He was waiting for me. After confirming the phone across the way was turned off, I let out a cold laugh, glancing at the time on my screen. Yes, I had been reborn. I walked over to the wardrobe, pulled out all the clothes in one go, dumped them on the bed, and began carefully selecting an outfit. Liangmi wanted to see me embarrass myself by dressing like a lunatic, but this time I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. In my past life, after receiving a message from my boyfriend Zhou Lin, I instantly remembered a short video I'd seen online and immediately threw on the most hideous outfit imaginable. When I passed by the full-length mirror on my way out, I was even startled by my own reflection. I thought it was just a little inside joke between Zhou Lin and me, dressing up in ridiculous outfits to make each other laugh, but when I arrived, I realized I was the biggest joke of all. When I got there, not only was Zhou Lin dressed perfectly normally, but Liangmi was standing right beside him, wearing an adorable Lolita-style dress. From the very first day Zhou Lin and I got together, I knew he had a bro who was a girl. Liangmi, she always acted like one of the guys, claimed she was practically a dude herself, and insisted their relationship was purely platonic. The moment she saw me, Liangmi burst out laughing, pointed right at me, and gave me a big thumbs up. Sis, you've done it, you've really done it, you've just won the whole thing. Zhou Lin frowned at me. What on earth are you wearing? It's disgusting. Everyone around was drawn by Liangmi's hearty laughter, and their eyes quickly fell on my outfit, sparking murmurs and whispers. I was shaking all over, my words coming out in a jumble. Didn't you send me a message saying we should see who could dress more disgustingly? Zhou Lin, what do you mean by this? Liangmi immediately cut in. I sent it using brother Zhou's phone. I didn't expect you to actually believe it. I'm dying laughing. I was wearing a dozen layers of clothes, yet I felt as if I were standing in an ice cellar, with chills running through my heart too. Look at you. What kind of mess are you making? Get back inside and don't embarrass me. Zhou Lin's expression was full of disgust, as if I were some repulsive thing. Watch your mouth. Apologize to your sister-in-law right now. Liangmi gave Zhou Lin a playful punch, her smile making the light tap feel more like a flirtatious tease. Before I could say anything, she came over again and took my hand, acting as if we were old acquaintances. Sister-in-law, don't be mad, I'm here with you. Look, I'm dressed just as badly, too. This dress is way too girly for me. I can't stand wearing it. That shade of pink is absolutely hideous. I've never worn anything so revolting in my life. I gazed at her exquisite Lolita dress. She wasn't just wearing the dress, but also a delicate accessory in her hair, paired with tiny leather shoes, making her look like a princess straight out of a fairy tale. It only makes me look like a pitiful clown. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed Liangmi by the collar and slapped him several times. Liangmi let out a scream as I slapped her, and Zhou Lin rushed over, pushing me away. I lost my balance and stumbled backward into the street, where a car coming toward me hit me and sent me flying. I crashed to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. The driver, shaken, got out of the car and looked at me. Where did this homeless guy come from? I thought I saw a ghost. Disgusting. I was so scared I hit the brake wrong. I died with a bitter grudge in my heart, unwilling to accept my fate, but this time, I will make sure Liangmi and Zhou Lin pay the price. I glanced at the computer on the desk. Last night, Zhou Lin had just used it for work, and WeChat was Still logged in, not signed out. I turned on the computer, and it prompted me to enter a password. I tried Zhou Lin's birthday as the password, but it was incorrect. Next, I tried my own birthday, and that was wrong too. Finally, I entered Liang Mi's birthday, and the computer unlocked without a hitch. I didn't have time to dwell on it. I opened Zhou Lin's WeChat and forwarded the message he had just sent me directly into his work group chat. Zhou Lin was a bit of a manager at the company. The moment his message went out, the group chat instantly erupted into a flurry of discussion. I didn't have time to look any further. I changed into the outfit I'd carefully prepared and headed out the door. I took a taxi ahead of time to the vicinity of the address Zhou Lin had sent me, then got out and walked the rest of the way. Before I even arrived, I heard a burst of hearty laughter. "Hey Zhou, what do you think of my outfit today?" Zhou Lin's voice chimed in. "You always wear pants, what's with the get-up today?" "Humph, I'll wear whatever I want, mind your own business, pal." The two of them started laughing and roughhousing, hiding in the shadows. Watching this scene, I couldn't help but find all our past interactions bitterly ironic. It was obvious they were flirting under the guise of brotherhood, using me as just another prop in their little game. The very thought of it made me want to rush over and punch each of them, but for the sake of the plan, I held myself back. The two of them were horsing around for a bit. But soon, Liang Mi, seemingly unaccustomed to her high heels, stumbled and fell right into Zhou Lin's arms. Right at that moment, a little boy carrying a basket of roses walked by. Seeing the scene, he immediately stepped forward to petal his flowers. "Hey mister, buy some roses for your girlfriend, she looks so beautiful today, roses would be the perfect match for her." Hearing this, Zhou Lin didn't argue. Instead, he immediately paid for a large bouquet of roses and handed them to Liang Mi. The two of them looked every bit the picture of a loving couple. 3. Where's my sister-in-law? These shoes are killing my feet. But she hadn't forgotten her main task for the day, and began to complain. "Looks like there's some traffic. If you're cold, go sit in that milk tea shop over there. I'll wait outside," Zhou Lin said thoughtfully. But Liang Mi was still waiting to see me make a fool of myself. How could she possibly miss that? She shook her head. "No need. How could I leave you standing here alone? True friends share both good times and hard times." After a while, checking my phone and seeing it was about time, I finally showed up and walked over. "I'm here. Have you been waiting long?" Hearing my voice, the two of them turned around to look at me. "Ha ha ha, sis, what on earth are you wearing? You win, you look like you just got released from a mental institution." Liang Mi looked at me and burst out laughing, as if we were in a past life. Just like in that past life, I was dressed bizarrely, leather pants over sweatpants, dress shoes with flip-flops, but the difference was, my expression was perfectly calm. I just gave a perfectly timed look of confusion toward Zhou Lin and said, "Zhou Lin, did you throw the game on purpose, dressing so plainly? Looks like this 5,200 is coming home with me." Zhou Lin's expression shifted from initial shock and disdain to suspicion. "When did I ever say I'd give you 5,200? Without another word, I pulled out my phone and shoved the chat history in his face. "You sent this yourself. Don't even think about denying it, just transfer the money." "I didn't send that, I never said any such thing," Zhou Lin immediately denied. Seeing the situation turn sour, Liang Mi quickly jumped in. "I sent that using brother Zhou's phone. It was just a joke. I didn't think you'd actually fall for it." "You're not mad, are you, sis? But honestly, that outfit today is pretty hideous. I declare you the winner." Liang Mi deliberately raised her voice, and everyone around turned to look at me. Wow, did this girl just get out? Have you ever seen someone wear clothes like that? This outfit is literally assaulting my eyes. I feel like I'm going to throw up just looking at it. I can't take it anymore. Call the police. Could this be a mental breakdown? As she listened to the accusations directed at me from those around us, a satisfied smile spread across Liang Mi's face. Not only that, she nudged Zhou Lin with her elbow. "I just played a joke with your phone. Don't be mad. Look at her. She's hilarious." Zhou Lin's expression was strained. After all, in his eyes, the way I was dressed was an embarrassment to him. He turned to me and said, "Hurry up and go home to change your clothes. Look at you. What kind of mess are you in?" Hey, don't go yet. Let me take a picture. "Sis, you don't mind if I post this on my moments, right?" Liang Mi noticed my expression wasn't as embarrassed as she'd expected, so she switched tactics to humiliate me. But as soon as she picked up her phone, her smile vanished. "For Manager Zhou, what's going on here? You told us to dress in a disgusting way, yet you're dressed like this yourself." "Yeah, Manager Zhou, that was a pretty shady way to handle things. I'm dressed so hideously, the prize should be mine, right?" Liang Mi and Zhou Lin stared at their colleagues, who were dressed in the most bizarre outfits, completely dumbfounded. What are you all wearing?" Zhou Lin was a junior manager at the company. When he sent a message in the work group chat, some of his subordinates were bound to follow it, especially when he offered a bonus of 5,200 yuan, nearly a month's salary for some employees, getting paid just to wear a few ugly clothes. Only a fool would say no. Wasn't it you who told us to dress like this? A male employee spoke up. Don't tell me you're trying to back out of paying. Only then did Zhou Lin realize his phone had been powered off. When he turned it on, he found hundreds of unread WeChat messages. What? When did you take my phone and send this? Zhou Lin finally snapped, glaring at Liang Mi. I didn't, brother Zhou. I only sent it to your wife, not to the work group chat. Liang Mi hurriedly explained, but she had just admitted to taking Zhou Lin's phone herself, so even with that explanation, he wasn't going to believe her. Liang Mi, could it be that you tapped the wrong button? You accidentally sent a message meant for me to the work group chat. Look at the mess this has caused. So many colleagues have come along for this little charade of yours, and look at you, dressed to the nines, completely putting the rest of us to shame. I very considerately explained the whole sequence of events to our colleagues, which immediately drew everyone's gaze toward Liang Mi. Out of the dozen or so people present, the two of them were dressed the most formally, which ironically made them stand out like sore thumbs. Seeing so many people embrace such disgusting fashion trends, passers-by finally got the message. I've seen it online before. This gross fashion trend is all the rage lately, and the most disgusting outfit even wins a prize. I just heard the prize is 5,200. Is this event still going on? I'd like to join too. We've got the game ideas for the annual meeting. I'll go back and suggest them to the boss right away. See, when enough people repeat a rumor, it becomes accepted as truth. Even the most niche behavior, once it gains enough followers, will find its own scholars to justify it. Fine, if you're not willing to pay, then I'll just say it's a waste of my time. I've never seen anything like this. If you can't handle it, don't play. You're just toying with all of us like we're dogs. Forget it, forget it. Back in ancient times, King Yu of Zhou played tricks with beacon fires to amuse his concubine, and today, Director Zhou is pulling pranks on his colleagues for love. It's all just to make the beauty smile. After all, Zhou Lin's face turned bright red. 5,200 wasn't a small sum for him, especially since he usually only sent me 52, and even 520 was too much for him to part with. But with so many subordinates already unhappy with him, if he keeps being this stingy, his reputation will probably be all over the company by tomorrow. So he gritted his teeth, called out to his colleague who was about to leave, and forced a smile. What's the rush? I was just joking. There's only one bonus, and I'd definitely pick the most special one. Seeing that he was willing to pay, the colleagues all turned back. Zhou Lin turned to look at me. He had it all figured out. Choosing me meant the money would pass through my hands, and he could just take it back later. I gave a slight smile and stood up. Colleagues, to avoid any appearance of favoritism, I, as a family member, won't be joining. The bonus should go to someone who truly needs it. As I spoke, I shed my outermost layer, and in a few quick motions, my attire was back to normal. This week, Zhou Lin's last lifeline was gone, and the look in his eyes turned fierce, like he wanted to devour me whole. Our director Zhou is so considerate, dressing so normally, it's like he's intentionally giving us a chance to win the bonus. Thank you so much, Director Zhou. Zhou Lin could only manage a wry smile at that moment. He was in a tight spot, and it was all Liang Mi's fault. Liang Mi also sensed Zhou Lin's attitude. She had only intended to make me look foolish, but ended up setting a trap for Zhou Lin instead. A dozen colleagues stood in a row, waiting for Zhou Lin to pick a winner. Just then, Liang Mi stepped forward. Wait a minute, I want to join too. 5. I smiled at Liang Mi. Liang Mi, I get how you feel, but today's competition is about who can wear the most hideous outfit, not the cutest, so, I really don't think that's necessary. The other colleagues looked her up and down, whispering among themselves, dressed like that, how does she expect to win? Seems like she just wants to make herself look good by comparison. Well, I'll just go change then. There's a mall right behind us. I'll be back in no time. Liang Mi insisted stubbornly. That's not fair. A female colleague spoke up, sounding displeased. You've already seen what we're wearing. Going to buy something new now would be cheating. Liang Mi shot a fierce glare at her female colleague. What's it to you? You're not the one handing out the bonus. Whether I'm qualified to compete should be up to the judges, don't you think, Brother Zhou? Give me a chance, please. I really want to participate too, Liang Mi said, looking at Zhou Lin. That's enough, we're so close. If you join in, it'll just make our colleagues misunderstand. I think today's winner is Xiaoli. I'll transfer the money to you via WeChat in a bit. In the crowd, Xiaoli let out a delighted squeal and even offered to treat all the colleagues to a meal. Everyone was happy except Zhou Lin and Liang Mi. She wanted to say something to make things right, but Zhou Lin was annoyed just by seeing her and had no desire to speak to her at all. Just as the group was about to leave in high spirits, the sound of a siren suddenly echoed from nearby, followed by a police car pulling up. At first, none of my colleagues paid any attention, until two police officers stepped out of the car and walked toward us. "Who are you people, and why are you all gathered here dressed like that?" Faced with the police, the colleagues were a bit flustered and quickly explained they were just playing a game. "We just received a call from a passerby reporting a group of people who'd escaped from a mental institution gathering here. You'd better come with me." Hearing they might be taken to the station, the colleagues panicked. "No, officer, we really are just playing a game. Look, we have proof." That's right. He's the one who organized this game. Ask him if you don't believe us." Zhou Lin was pushed forward, and he had no choice but to reluctantly nod in agreement. However, for safety reasons, the police ended up taking our entire group to the station. It's quite a struggle for a normal person to prove they're not mentally ill. Finally, the police had a sudden idea and contacted Zhou Lin's supervisor, who came rushing from home in the middle of the night to bail out his subordinate. Facing a group of subordinates dressed in bizarre costumes, the leader was about to get angry, but couldn't help laughing when he saw their outfits. In the end, they could only take out all their anger on Zhou Lin, who was dressed normally. "If you've got too much free time, go do some sales work instead of dragging your coworkers into some weird game. You tricked your colleagues into coming over, and you're dressed up so nicely. Don't think I don't know what you're up to." Seeing Zhou Lin getting scolded so harshly, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. After the boss left, Li, the colleague who had just won the award, still made sure to remind him not to forget the transfer. That was 5,200 yuan. After all, brother Zhou, I swear it wasn't on purpose. I must have accidentally bumped something. I had no idea it would turn out like this. Liang Mi pressed closer, determined to explain herself. "Get lost, you crazy bitch. Who told you to touch my phone?" Zhou Lin shoved her away and shouted, "After all these years we've been together, what's the big deal if I check your phone? You even used to let me set your lock screen password." "That was then," Zhou Lin said, tossing the words over his shoulder as he turned and walked away. "Now I have a girlfriend, don't you dare touch my phone again." Watching his back, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Only now did I remember I had a girlfriend. I didn't follow, but instead turned to Liang Mi and said, "I know that message wasn't from you." She was still furious and gave me a cold look. "I didn't send it in the first place, because I sent it." 6. Liang Mi stared at me in shock, even doubting her own hearing. "What, you just want to see me make a fool of myself, right? Fine, I'll bring more people over, let you have a good look. So, what do you think?" Liang Mi trembled with rage. "You wretched woman, how dare you hurt me? I was just defending myself normally, and you can't handle that. Serves you right. Xiao you, I'm going to kill you." Liang Mi lost her mind, baring fangs and claws as she charged at me. I can't take on Zhou Lin, but handling her alone is more than enough. I swung my arm wide and pinned her to the ground, finally venting all my pent-up rage. "If we're talking about being despicable, I still can't hold a candle to you, hiding behind the banner of friendship while doing the dirtiest, most disgusting things. You make me sick, you bitch. You dare hit me. Believe me, I'll tell brother Zhou, and she'll break up with you." I let out a mocking laugh. Look at him now. Does he even want to talk to you anymore? Brother Zhou is just upset with me for now. We grew up together. He won't ignore me forever, Liang Mi said, her face swollen. I gave a faint smile. "You fool, haven't you realized it yet? Zhou Lin just sees you as a bit of entertainment in his life. If that weren't the case, why wouldn't he break up with me to be with you? Look at you, no title, no status, only able to be together under the guise of being brothers. What's the point? You, stop trying to stir up trouble here. Zhou and I are just friends. It's nothing like the disgusting relationship you're imagining. I'm not even gonna bother with more words." "Fine, if that's what you want to believe. Then keep lying to yourself for the rest of your life." I turned and walked away, returning home to find Zhou Lin sulking. Just earlier, while using his computer to forward a WeChat message, I had stumbled upon something else. I was all set to confront him, but then it hit me. It would be such a shame to miss out on watching this drama unfold firsthand. I stepped forward with a fake smile. "Honey, Liang Mi is really being unreasonable. Do you think this could affect your work?" Zhou Lin shook his head. "It's not that serious. A small matter like this won't shake my position at the company. You're such a thoughtful wife." I pulled out my phone and sent him a red packet. "Liang Mi caused you to lose over 5,000. I'll compensate you a little. Don't be mad anymore." Zhou Lin accepted the red envelope instantly, feeling even more touched. Seizing the moment, I took his phone and posted a selfie of the two of us on his social media feed. In the following days, Liang Mi tried to make up. But Zhou Lin was truly angry this time and blocked all her contact information. She even went so far as to track down our home, but Zhou Lin gave her the cold shoulder. Brother Zhou, after all these years of friendship, are you really going to cut me off over something so trivial? Liang Mi stood outside the door, weeping bitterly. Darling, Liang Mi knows she was wrong too. Why don't you just forgive her? I said, don't open that door. It's precisely because of all these years of history that she dares to act so brazenly. I have to teach her a lesson. That was exactly the line I was waiting for him to say. So, speaking through the door, I replied, sorry, Liang Mi, your brother Zhou says you need to learn your lesson. You'd better leave. Xiaoyu, did you say something to brother Zhou? Why else would he ignore me? You bitch, you're definitely stirring up trouble. What an idiot. When there's a problem, he only knows how to blame the women. But really, all of this is that scumbag's fault. In the past, Zhou Lin would have forgiven Liang Mi quickly, and the two would have made up as if nothing had happened, but this time, he was dead set on cutting ties with her. There had to be a reason for it, and that reason was about to come knocking. 7. I took the afternoon off on Thursday specifically to make this appointment. Miss Xia, let's not beat around the bush. Break up with Zhou Lin, name your price. A woman dressed in expensive clothes sat across from me, her attitude tinged with a hint of arrogance, but I wasn't about to take offense. After all, she was my golden goose. Even if she slapped me, I'd ask if her hand hurt, but I still feigned shock. Who are you? Zhou Lin and I are perfectly fine. Why should we break up? Zhou Lin works for my father's company now. If you truly love him, break up with him. It's for the sake of his future. Actually, I already knew. I saw their chat on Zhou Lin's WeChat the other day. That's when I found out Zhou Lin had been maintaining a single persona at work. Xiaoxi, the boss's daughter, had taken a liking to him, and the two of them were getting cozy. This scumbag still can't learn to sleep alone, dating me while flirting with other girls on the side. With a young lady like Xiaoxi around, Liang Mi's so-called childhood friendship just doesn't measure up. I posted a WeChat Moments update using Zhou Lin's phone, and only then did Xiaoxi realize he'd been in a relationship all along. But a pampered young lady like her wouldn't care about any of that. She came straight out and tried to talk me out of it. After all, the one thing she's never short of is money. Alright then, if it helps Zhou Lin, I'm willing to do it. As for compensation, I don't need any. Xiaoxi narrowed her eyes. How can that work? If you don't take the money, what's to stop you from running off later and spreading rumors to ruin my reputation? She pulled out a card and placed it in front of me. There's 3 million in here, sign this. And it's yours. Suppressing a smile, I signed my name on the card and contract before me. Xiaoxi got the result she wanted and walked away in her high heels. I stayed seated, waiting until I was sure she had truly left. Burst into laughter. Back home, Zhou Lin was sitting on the sofa with a suitcase beside him. Seeing me return, he said expressionlessly, you already know. I could only continue to suppress my smile. Yes, if it's better for us to part ways, I'm willing. Zhou Lin fell silent for a moment, and in the end, he only said one thing, I'm sorry. No need to apologize. You didn't wrong me. This time, I meant it. I don't hate him at all. In fact, I'm grateful to him. He said nothing more, picked up his suitcase, and walked away. After he left, I immediately sprang into action, packing my things in a whirlwind of activity. At last, I could finally move into a spacious house close to the office. Just as I was packing my things, a commotion erupted outside the door. Auntie, this is the place. They'd been living together for ages. I turned to look. Standing in the doorway were Liang Mi and a middle-aged woman. I recognized her instantly. It was Zhou Lin's mother. So you're Xiaoyu. I am Zhou Lin's mother. Even though their intentions were clearly hostile, I maintained a baseline level of courtesy. What can I do for you? Ma'am, I've heard you come from a single-parent home, and you're not exactly young anymore. While Zhou Lin may be fond of you, I already have a specific young woman in mind for my daughter-in-law. I replied with a thin, insincere smile. And this specific young woman you have in mind, would that be Liang Mi? I've watched Liang Mi grow up. She's the perfect match for Zhou Lin. If you're at all sensible, you should break up with her now. No wonder Liang Mi has been so quiet lately. She was off gathering reinforcements. What's so special about this guy anyway? Everyone's fighting over him like he's some kind of treasure. 8. I said with a regretful expression. Auntie, I'm afraid you're too late. Just a moment ago, I broke up with Zhou Lin. Hearing this, Liang Mi let out an excited cry. Really? That's fantastic. At that moment, she looked at me with the triumphant disdain of a victor. At least you know your place, she sneered. You were never good enough for Zhou Lin. He and I grew up together. Sooner or later, you'll be the one who has to go. Don't you want to know why we broke up? Who cares why you broke up, brother? Zhou Lin was just playing around with you from the start. I ignored Liang Mi and turned to Mrs. Zhou, saying, congratulations, auntie. The reason Zhou Lin broke up with me is that she's already found someone else. He's fallen for the boss's daughter, climbed up the social ladder, and now he's dumping me, his loyal wife. What? Two voices rang out in the room simultaneously, one filled with delight, the other with shock. I pulled up Xiaoxi's social media feed right away. As a rich girl, her posts were all about luxury brands. Even a country bumpkin like me, who couldn't tell one label from another, could tell she was loaded. Looking at the photo of the wealthy and beautiful Xiaoxi on the phone, Mrs. Zhou's face gradually softened into an expression of approval. Liang Mi never expected that after driving one away, another would show up, and this time, it was an even tougher one. Auntie, these socialite social media accounts are very likely scams. A lot of people online have been tricked by them, so please don't believe it. Liang Mi saw the look on Zhou's mother's face and knew something was wrong, quickly stepping in to stop her. I've seen that girl before. Her car costs millions, and just one of her handbags could buy a whole apartment. They say she's the only daughter of Zhou Lin's boss, and the company will be handed over to her one day. Zhou Lin is really set for life with her. Hearing me say that, Zhou's mother couldn't wait for Zhou Lin to move in immediately, hoping he'd soar to the peak of life from there. Auntie, don't listen to her. Girls like that have very messy personal lives. Brother Zhou is definitely being taken for a ride. You really need to talk some sense into him. Seeing she had no advantage, Liang Mi had no choice but to start spreading lewd rumors. But now, Zhou's mother was lost in her sweet dream, and her gaze had grown colder. Mimi, I think this girl is a perfect match for Zhou Lin. I've always thought of you as a daughter, so from now on, you'll be Zhou Lin's godsister. Having a sister-in-law like her will be good for you too. Liang Mi was on the verge of a breakdown. Her greatest source of pride had always been her childhood bond with Zhou Lin and the unwavering support of the Zhou family. Now that the Zhous had turned their backs on her, she had lost all her leverage. I let out a soft chuckle, then looked at her with a gaze full of pity, as if provoked by my glare. Liang Mi sprang to her feet and started screaming, "You shameless old hag, you see someone with money and you just latch on. Take a look at yourself. Who do you think you are? You're not even worthy." Mrs. Zhou was utterly lambasted and nearly had a heart attack from rage. "How dare you speak to me like that? My son made it on his own merit. You're so vicious. I'll tell your parents. Let's see who'd ever want to marry you after this. You dare snitch on me, you old hag. I'll tear you apart right now." With bloodshot eyes and murderous fury, Liang Mi charged forward and began grappling with Mrs. Zhou. What a spectacular scene. I didn't even want to pack my bags anymore. I just had to step back and watch the show. I waited until they were just about done fighting before I finally called the police. The police took them both away, and I followed along as a witness. 9. Zhou's mother was slightly less combative and ended up more injured. The police contacted Zhou Lin and asked him to come handle the situation. A short while later, a luxury car pulled up outside the police station, and Zhou Lin and Xiaoxi stepped out. Liang Mi stared at the two of them, her eyes turning red with anger. "Zhou Lin, how could you do this to me?" she demanded. "I'm sorry, but I've always seen you as my little sister. Inside my heart, your family. I can let today's incident go, but you have to apologize to my mom right now." Zhou Lin just wants to get rid of Liang Mi, this huge headache, as quickly as possible, so as not to upset Xiaoxi. Everything else is irrelevant. Screw your apology. Your whole family is rotten to the core. I must have been blind. You climbed your way up and forgot where you came from. Mark my words, what goes around comes around. Since both of them had gotten physical, the police found it difficult to assign blame. In the end, after mediation, Liang Mi apologized to Mrs. Zhou and compensated her for medical expenses, and that settled the matter. By the time we left the police station, it was already dark. Zhou Lin and Xiaoxi had a date later that evening. They'd booked a fancy Western restaurant and were heading there by car. Liang Mi walked behind them, listening to the harsh sounds. She just couldn't figure it out, where exactly she had lost, ending up with nothing at all. And the root of all this evil lies in the man before me. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. Rage overwhelmed her reason, and she lunged forward, shoving him hard. Zhou Lin was caught off guard, lost his balance, and stumbled forward several steps. The next second, a car sped toward him. Before it could brake, it slammed into Zhou Lin. Zhou Lin was flung several meters away and lost consciousness. Seeing this, Liang Mi couldn't help but feel a sense of schadenfreude. "Serves you right, you played with my feelings, and this is what you get." Zhou's mother let out a shriek. "My son, and rushed forward. Zhou Lin lay unconscious on the ground in a large pool of blood. His chances didn't look good, since it happened right outside the police station. Officers immediately rushed out and restrained Liang Mi. The driver also called 120 and stood by, waiting for help. Looking at Xiaxi not far from me, and thinking about the 3 million in my bank account, I decided to walk over and offer a few words of comfort. If you're scared, you can go ahead and leave. The police will handle it. Xiaxi looked at me as if I were insane. What gave you the idea that I'm scared? What are you just standing there for? I was just wondering whether to go shopping or grab a bite to eat. Back when I was studying abroad, there was a gang shootout right outside my place, and bullets shattered my windows. Didn't even flinch. This is nothing compared to that. I quickly gave a thumbs up. Yeah, don't be sad. There might still be hope. Which eye of yours saw me being sad? I finally found something fun, and now it's gone. How boring. Her expression was as if she'd lost some trivial toy. After a moment, she seemed to decide on her next move, got into her luxury car, and drove away. Watching her drive off in that luxury car, I couldn't help but admire her. Both Zhou's mother and Liang Mi thought Zhou Lin was marrying into a wealthy family, but in reality, the heiress was just toying with him. To throw away your whole life like that, it's just not worth it. Zhou Lin was in the hospital for a full day and night, but in the end, he didn't make it. Liang Mi's charge was upgraded from intentional injury to intentional homicide. She was sentenced to life in prison and will spend the rest of her life behind bars. Xiaxi quickly found herself a new mixed-race hunk, and she never asked for the 3 million back from me. After working for a while longer, I quit my job, took the money, and started traveling to see landscapes I'd never gotten to experience in my previous life. I lost a man, but I gained the world. End of text. That's all for the first story. Don't go anywhere. The next one is even better. Halfway through his redemption, the poor, villainous boyfriend suddenly awakened. He claimed to have been reborn. And this time, he was determined to change his fate and bravely pursue the woman he loved. I stood there in stunned silence. He just told me he loved me, promised to spend the rest of his life with me. How is this any different from cheating? But the villain claims I was being too clingy, obsessively chasing him, which drove the heroine further and further away. If I don't want to be retaliated against later, I should stay away from him. Well, I had no choice but to settle for the second best option, pursuing the handsome, wealthy, yet stubborn and sharp-tongued male lead. Winning over the male lead is a piece of cake. Just slap him a couple of times and force a few kisses on him, and his affection meter will skyrocket to 99%. Just as the male lead and I were locked in a passionate embrace, the villain saw us. His face instantly darkened. Damn it, Xingxi, are you cheating on me? 1. Xie Jishu awakened just as we finished kissing. He was lounging on the sofa playing on his phone while I washed the dishes after dinner. Suddenly, a flash of electricity shot through the window, the lights flickered dimly, and when they brightened again, Xie Jishu's expression had turned strange. He seemed unable to believe he was lying on that tattered sofa. He suddenly jumped up, ran around the house 2 or 3 times, and finally shouted out as if he had finally made up his mind, I've finally been reborn. I'm in the kitchen, and I can hear the sound perfectly clearly. Her hand trembled, and the bowl slipped into the pool with a crisp clatter that drew Xie Jishu's gaze this way. At that moment, a flicker of unmistakable disgust flashed in his eyes. Then she said to me, go home, no need to wash. I awkwardly wiped my hands and said, oh. Just before leaving, Xie Jishu added, Xingxi, you don't need to come anymore. I still didn't dare to ask a single question. I walked all the way downstairs in a daze, my mind completely numb. I stood staring blankly for a moment at the corner and saw Xie Jishu change his clothes and hurry out. That direction, I could tell it even with my eyes closed, was the way to Lin Mo's house, the girl he'd always had a crush on. After a year of preparation, the day has finally arrived. Xie Jishu had already agreed to live a good life with me. His family was poor, while the Lin family was the richest in the city. His mistaken feelings for Lin Mo should have been let go from the start. He agreed, too. Starting today, we'll build a good life together. I transmigrated into this novel to win over Xie Jishu. In 1 year, I endured more hardship and did more chores than in my entire 20 years of life before. My heart has long been a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The only thing that kept me going was that I genuinely fell for Xie Jishu during this process. Even though his heart belonged to someone else, he was incredibly handsome, and while he was often cold towards me, there were moments when he showed genuine care. The system says I'm almost there. Once I've redeemed Xie Jishu, I'll be entitled to a handsome bonus. You'll be free to do whatever you want then. I've already decided, once I get this money, I'll give it to Xie Jishu to start his business. With his intelligence, he's bound to achieve great things. Then I'll be living the perfect life, rich and with a wonderful husband. But fate had other plans. Just as things were 99% complete, Xiaozhishu was reborn. He said he was going to find Lin Mo. As for me, I trudged home alone through the pouring rain, utterly desolate too. In a dilapidated rental room in a village within the city, I lie alone in bed, feeling emo. The system has been trying to persuade me for half an hour now. Oh, I really didn't mean to. Blame it on the Time Bureau's mess. That's what caused Xiaozhishu's rebirth. Don't lose heart. Okay, let me think of a way to get Xiaozhishu to change his mind. Worst case scenario, worst case. I'll give you a voucher. If the startup fails, you can set up a stall to pay off the debt, and you'll earn double what others make. Please stop crying. Okay, sis, I'm begging you. I burst into tears with a wail. Sob. His startup could still fail, and I'd have to pay off debts by running a stall. What kind of cursed life is this? Spent a year taming this lousy villain, washed 680 dishes, 315 cups, 262 spoons, mopped the floor 363 times. You wanna know how I made it through? My delicate hands are all calloused. How can I be 18 and already living like this? I'm breaking free, going dark, and I'm gonna stab this bastard who made me suffer. Everyone else can just go to hell. The system is completely overwhelmed. No, please don't. We'll figure something out. I promise. Alright, you go to class as usual tomorrow. I'll go negotiate with the Time Bureau and see if we can get the original Xiaozhishu back. Look, if we can't switch back, I'll request a reassignment for your target. How's that? With tears in my eyes, I asked. Really, system, The new one has to be better looking than Xiaozhishu. Yeah, can't be too poor. I'm done washing dishes. Okay, damn, I spent a whole year trying to win over Xiaozhishu and all I got was a kiss. I'm way too expensive for that. Next time, I'm finding someone who's actually worth the effort. I'll do my best, but we can't really control what the male lead wants to do. I don't care. If not, I'll turn to the dark side. I'll rebel. I'll stab that bastard who made me suffer. In the end, only after the system repeatedly assured me they would handle the issue as soon as possible was I able to fall asleep peacefully. The next day, I got ready, my eyes still a bit puffy, and headed to the classroom. 3. With the college entrance exams just around the corner, everyone was cramming like their lives depended on it. You'd think the classroom would be dead silent, but the moment I reached the doorway, I heard someone exclaim loudly, "Oh my god, Sugo, you actually went and confessed to Lin Mo, did she say yes?" Another voice chimed in, "Of course she did. Did you see how epic our Suji's move was yesterday? Fireworks, a sea of flowers, and that romantic confession." Lin Mo was so moved she threw herself right into Xiaozhishu's arms on the spot. Then a girl's voice spoke up. It was my deskmate, Su Qiaoyu. "Wait, Xiaozhishu, aren't you and Xingxi together?" The moment the words were spoken, a profound silence fell. Everyone knows I went all out chasing Xiaozhishu over the past year, knowing full well he had someone else in his heart. I still brought him meals and showed up to clean his place. I practically wore him down with my persistence until Xiaozhishu finally gave in. Just the other day, Xiaozhishu publicly held my hand and walked me out of the classroom. Someone asked him where he was going. He said, "I'm taking my girlfriend home." It was an undeniable acknowledgement of my status. It's only been a few days, and he's already confessing to another girl, kind of over the top. Xiaozhishu naturally understood all that. But what bothered him wasn't that I was wronged, it was his concern for Lin Mo. She replied calmly, "Xingxi and I are just friends, believe it or not." Back then, she was way too clingy, like a desperate follower, making Momo misunderstand and think I had someone else, so she slowly drifted away from me. We cleared the air last night. From today on, the one who occupies my heart, walks by my side, and holds my hand will be Lin Mo, and no one else. I am hers. The teasing and cheers rose and fell in waves. Through the crack in the door, I saw Lin Mo's cheeks flush a soft pink. Xiaozhishu gazed at her with tender affection, his eyes holding her like a long-lost treasure finally returned, a look that made my heart ache with a sharp, piercing pain. I felt like crying. After all, I had real feelings for him. How could I not be heartbroken? I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. Pushing the door open, I was immediately met with Xiaozhishu's indifferent gaze. The moment he saw me, he instinctively shielded Lin Mo behind him, frowning as he looked at me. "What are you doing here?" My tone was equally sharp. "I'm here for class. You'd better behave in class and watch your mouth, or you know what'll happen." For his words were tough, but the current Xiaozhishu was just a handsome but penniless school heartthrob. Apart from having decent exam scores, he probably couldn't even beat me in a fight. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him, so I just slumped over the desk in a sulk. Xiaozhishu and Lin Mo were sitting behind me, whispering to each other quietly. I could hear Lin Mo worrying whether I'd be hurt or upset hearing those words. I felt a complex mix of emotions. After all, Lin Mo in this novel is truly a wonderful girl. Although she was not the favorite child growing up, she has always been gentle and kind-hearted, treating others well and helping those she can whenever possible. A walking little sun, drawing others' affection. Seems like it's not wrong at all. For example, Xie Zhishu fell quietly in love with her simply because he had once been shown kindness by her. Feeling unworthy and trapped in a cycle of self-conflict and inner turmoil, she eventually spiraled into depression. After graduating, the Lin family went bankrupt. For financial security, Lin Mo was forced to marry the stubborn, sharp-tongued male lead, becoming a lonely trophy wife in a wealthy but empty household. Xie Zhishu achieved entrepreneurial success after a chance encounter with Lin Mo. Their complicated push-and-pull dynamic finally forced her difficult husband to confront his own feelings, prompting him to swiftly win her back. Now that Lin Mo is with Xie Zhishu, one wonders what will become of her difficult ex-husband in the future. The plot collapse is partly the system's fault too, I thought irritably. Fine, we'll just face the punishment together. When you're in a bad mood, you don't even feel like eating. At noon, everyone else left, and I was the only one slumped lazily over the desk, dozing off. Oh, actually, I wasn't alone. Lin Mo and Xie Zhishu were there too. Xie Zhishu held the bento I had prepared yesterday, coaxing Lin Mo to eat bite by bite. Come on, baby, here's your favorite ribs, just take a bite. Ah, Lin Mo glanced at me sheepishly. Not here, we're not alone, leave her alone, she can't hear. Oh come on, you're making that up, how could you not hear it from this close? She really can't hear a thing, she wouldn't even notice if we kissed. Ugh, I endured my simmering anger as I listened to them finish that meal, and then I saw Xie Zhishu walk over to my side. He set down the bento box habitually. Xingxi, put it on my desk after you wash it. Me picked up the lunchbox and just airdropped it, tossed into the corner trash pile. Oh, no thanks. Xie Zhishu took a deep breath, his temper flaring, but then he spotted Lin Mo not far away. He leaned in close, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper only the two of us could hear. Aren't you still trying to win me over? Don't you want to succeed? A chill ran down my spine. He knows about my plan to win him over. Xie Zhishu paused in thought, as if he had just read my mind. Of course I know you're a transmigrator, and I know you're here to conquer me and earn my favorability points. In the past, you had to be my girlfriend to earn points, but now I have Lin Mo, I can't let him be wronged, so I'm afraid you'll have to bear the inconvenience. From now on, you'll do my laundry and cooking. I'll award you points based on my mood. If you make me happy, maybe one day I'll be able to return to my original world. So, Lin Mo, have I been merciful enough to you? With that, she winked, looking quite pleased with herself. Watching that receding figure with his arm around Lin Mo, I suddenly realized, this Xie Zhishu was no longer the one I had kept in my heart. 5 After school in the evening, Xie Zhishu stopped me again. He handed me a key and said, go to my place, pick up the stuff you left behind, and while you're at it, tidy up a bit. I'll bump up your favorability score by half a point. Remember, don't try to play games, your little tricks are obvious to me. At a glance staring at that thin key, I felt my grip on sanity slipping away. I kept screaming for the system in my mind, but the damn thing was completely unresponsive, like it had died. I arrived at the Xie residence, seething with frustration. What choice did I have, if I couldn't get through to the system? My only way back to my original world was to successfully win over Xie Zhishu. Damn it, he's got me by the throat. Alright, back at that familiar little house, where I've been countless times. The majority of the furnishings are things I've added: pink sofa cover, white lace curtains, plus a refrigerator, washing machine, and water heater. I earned every bit of it through hard work and part-time jobs after I came into this world. Back then, I imagined that once we successfully won over Xie Zhishu, this place would become our little love nest, everything here a testament to our love and a treasure trove of memories. After all that scheming, just when success seemed within reach, Xie Zhishu was reborn. Then, he didn't want me. My nose tingled with a sudden sting, and I felt like a complete loser, young and already feeling a man's heart turn cold, carrying a lifetime of bitterness. Pack the clothes and shoes inside, along with some small decorative items. I paid good money for all of this, I can't let Xie Zhishu lose them. I opened the drawer, and there was still my salary from last month, 3,215 yuan. It was meant to be living expenses for Xie Zhishu, but now it's completely empty. Out of nowhere, I recalled the phrase I heard during the day: fireworks, a sea of flowers. For a moment, blood and chi surged violently. Dumping me was bad enough, but taking all my money too, that's just beyond the pale. I couldn't help but pick up the lighter, wanting to burn this damn place to the ground, then take a knife to that bastard after execution. Maybe I can go back in time. Just as the flames were about to lick the curtains, the system emitted a loud alarm. Stop it, let go of that curtain. 6. I heard my own voice, cold as ice. I won't let go. Xiajishu has gone too far. Don't be rash, don't be rash. Let's find a solution. No, I'm going to burn his house down, stab him, and send him straight to hell. The system took a deep breath and muttered, damn. Sealed away my temper for too long. Forgot this woman had bipolar disorder. Before, it coaxed in a good-natured tone, oh, don't be mad, I've brought you some good news. I looked at it with a sullen face. What good news? Please don't tell me it's more news about me having to play nursemaid to someone again. The system grinned. This is genuinely good news. The bug in the temporal bureau can't be fixed. The higher-ups are aware of this situation and have specially approved a change in your assigned target. You know this target, right? He's Lin Mo's official fiancé, Gu Jiangshua. He's not just handsome and wealthy, aside from being a bit difficult personality-wise. He's really got it all. The key is that he's a hopeless romantic at heart. Once you've won him over, he'll spend his whole life doting on you and treating you like a queen. I was skeptical. Someone that perfect. Are they really that easy to get? The system scratched its head. Normally, no, but I pulled some strings and got you a special pass. What kind of pass? Once you start pursuing him, Gu Jiangshua will see you through rose-colored glasses for no apparent reason. With my guidance from the sidelines, we'll get twice the results with half the effort, and be invincible. Seeing how earnest and confident it seemed, I decided to give it one more shot. On my way home from school the next day, I ran into the male lead of this story, Gu Jiangshua, the young master Gu, born with a silver spoon in his mouth. At that time, he was only 18. Due to poor health, he had been taking a leave of absence from school and studying at home. The weather was nice today, so he snuck out for a little wander. Unexpectedly, he had an asthma attack halfway and collapsed in a quiet alley. I raced over on my bike and managed to get his inhaler to him and call 120 before he kicked the bucket. Before passing out, Gu Jiangshua squinted at me and asked, "Who are you? How did you know I was here?" Logically, I should play the innocent, act all shy and cute, and spout some nonsense about fate, destiny, and a sixth sense connecting us strangers. But on my second attempt at pursuing a man, my patience is wearing thin. I took a deep breath. Don't ask, if you must know, call it divine providence. Gu Jiangshua was taken aback. He was just about to say something when the doctor arrived. I watched them load him into the car. He even pointed at me, trying to get me to follow. I took off running. The bubble tea shop was still staring me down while making my drink. Xiajishu had already spent all the money, and I wasn't about to go hungry. After working all night, I came home feeling completely worn out. I managed to tidy up a bit, then lay down on the bed and opened my phone to see a message from Xiajishu. Xingxi, I noticed you took your things, but why didn't you clean up the house? The drawer's empty. Send some over as soon as you get paid. After a while, seeing I didn't respond, they sent 2 more messages. I know you're bothered about Lin Mo, but I love her, and nothing can change my heart. I hope you understand that even though we can't be husband and wife, we can still be friends. When I make my fortune someday, I'll repay you properly. 7. What an enormous claim. Xiajishu really knows how to talk big. I couldn't be bothered to reply, so I just had a lovely, long sleep. The moment I walked into the classroom the next day, I was stopped by Xiajishu. Lin Mo wasn't around, so he reached into my pocket and asked, "Did you get your part-time pay yesterday?" Hand it over. With that, he took all 125 yuan from my pocket. After counting it, he pushed back 10 yuan. Go buy Momo a yogurt. She likes a Muxi brand. Keep the change. I gritted my teeth against the dull ache in my temples and snatched back all the money. Xiajishu, have you lost your mind? Robbing someone in broad daylight. What's gotten into you? You work to make money for me to spend, so isn't it perfectly normal for me to take it? His sheer audacity was so ridiculous it made me want to laugh, and I actually did let out a chuckle. Who the hell do you think you are? I turned to the crowd of onlookers behind me and said, everyone, as you all know, Xiajishu and Lin Mo are dating, so, Xia and I are just ordinary acquaintances. I hope Xia doesn't keep stealing money from regular classmates. If your family is poor, figure out your own way to deal with it, otherwise, just borrow from your girlfriend. Xiajishu turned red and green with anger. Xingxi, you've got nerve. How dare you humiliate me? Let me tell you, you'll never succeed in winning them over. You're going to end up alone for the rest of your life. I crossed my arms and sneered at him. Oh, really? We'll see about that. I'm not just going to win everyone over. I'm going to make sure you never amount to anything. The atmosphere in the classroom remained strange for the entire next day. After his rebirth, Xie Zhishu grew increasingly arrogant, acting as if he was destined for greatness. He publicly declared us mortal enemies and pressured our classmates to pick a side. We were all students, aside from Xie Zhishu and me. Everyone else came from well-off families. Our little scuffle must have looked like a couple of amateurs squabbling in their eyes. A weird, mocking gaze kept shifting back and forth between the two of us. It was enough to make Xie Zhishu's blood boil all over again. Lin Mo whispered something to soothe him, and whatever she said finally made Xie Zhishu's expression soften. He gave her a smacking kiss and said, "Don't look down on a young man with empty pockets, Momo. One day, I'll prove how right your choice was." He glanced at the others again. "And you'll find out what happens when you look down on people like a dog." So embarrassing. Snickers rippled through the classroom. I kept my head down and said nothing. Just then, a knock came at the door. A middle-aged man in a sharp suit walked in. "Is Miss Xingxi here? Our young master would like to see you." A day later, I ran into the stubborn male lead again. His eyes clearly lit up when he saw me, but the moment I looked back at him, he put on that aloof, superior air. "So you're Xingxi?" "Me, yeah. Was it you who saved me yesterday?" How did you end up passing by there? That road is pretty remote." His tone turned suspicious, and a flicker of murderous intent flashed in Gu Jiangshua's eyes. "No wonder he's so jumpy. Though the Gu family's business is huge, he's their only child. Those uncles and cousins had long coveted the family fortune, and they had harmed Gu Jiangshua countless times, both openly and in secret." Lin Mo won his heart in the first place with nothing but pure sincerity. She truly has no ulterior motives toward him and genuinely wants to build a life with him. It was only when Gu Jiangshua was on the verge of divorce that he realized how important she was to him. Honestly, I could go down that road too, but I just can't be bothered. The mere thought of having to go through all that trouble again to butter up some strange man makes my blood boil. My tone was curt. "Because a deity visited me in a dream last night. They told me a handsome young man would be lying in that alley. If I saved him, he'd give me a reward. I'm just so broke. I had no choice but to give it a shot. Who knew I'd actually get lucky and stumble upon the answer?" "Gu Jiangshua," he said. "Oh, so you're in it for the money. Go ahead. How much do you want?" Without a second thought, I said, 100,000. 100 grand for a rich kid's life. That's a bargain. Gu Jiangshua was taken aback for a moment, his gaze burning into me for a long while. I squared my shoulders and stood my ground. He looked down, tapped on his phone a few times, and 100,000 yuan smoothly arrived in my account. The system was dumbfounded. Hey, Xingxi, don't forget your mission. You're supposed to win him over. Why are you asking him for money?" I replied, "Mind your own business. I have my reasons. The point is, whoever wants to live this miserable, broke life can have it. I'm done working for someone else." This mission didn't specify a deadline. As long as I haven't succeeded, the system has to keep creating opportunities for us. I'll milk it for all it's worth every single time. There's always a chance to strike it rich. System. Alright, you found a loophole. I'll give you that. Me, you're absolutely right. 9. I thought paying up would slow down the progress of the plan, but who would have thought the next day Gu Jiangshua came looking for me on his own. He said he had to take the college entrance exam too, and studying at home wasn't ideal. After donating a batch of lab equipment to the school, he became my deskmate, a sickly, constantly needing care deskmate. His butler said, "Miss Xing, our mistress said the young master might need your care, and she's willing to pay you for it, 30,000 yuan per month, with travel and meal expenses reimbursed, plus gift boxes during holidays. Would that work for you?" Being a nanny is a tough job, but working for Gu Jiangshua is actually quite worthwhile. I grinned and gave a thumbs up, then started taking care of Gu Jiangshua from every possible angle. Since they were seated in front of and behind Lin Mo and Xie Zhishu, they all heard it too. Lin Mo didn't seem fazed at all, offering a gentle smile as she said, "Xingxi, this Gu classmate seems quite interesting." Me, yeah, that's right, handsome and rich. Lucky me, I got a steal beside him. Xie Zhishu was displeased. He pulled me into the woods while no one was looking. "Xingxi, where did that man come from?" Rubbing my sore wrist, I snapped, "None of your damn business." Xie Zhishu grew even angrier. "Of course it concerns me. I'm the one you're supposed to be winning over." I almost blurted out that I had a new partner, but looking at Xie Zhishu's sinister face, if he really found out, who knows what trouble might erupt. I had no choice but to pretend to be pouty. "So what if you're my target? You already have a girlfriend. I'll just have to find someone else." Xie Zhishu's expression relaxed. "Xingxi, I knew it. You're just pouting at me. After all these years we've known each other, I truly appreciate all the kindness you've shown me. Pfft, what do you know?" He raised his hand, gently stroked my cheek, his gaze soft and tender. "Feelings can't be forced. But Xingxi, I truly did care for you once. I'll never forget the hardships we endured together, the time we spent side by side. No matter what happens in the future, there will always be a corner of my heart reserved for you. Please understand that. Xie Zhishu sighed. My birthday is next week, and I really hope you can come. No matter what happens, I'll always consider you my best friend. He pulled my bank card out of my pocket. By the way, the money Gu Jiangshua gave you should be in this card, right? Lend it to me for a bit. I'll pay you back later. Alright, Momo's heading home. I'll go see her off. Let's catch up next time. Me watching Xie Zhishu walk away, I opened my phone and silently transferred the money from my card to my Taba account. I was about to leave when I heard footsteps behind me. Just as I thought to turn back, a surge of brute force struck. I was pinned firmly against the tree. Looks like you've conned quite a few people, you fraud. The person staring at me with a dark expression, it was Gu Jiangshua. Gu Jiangshua, standing over 6 feet tall, nearly enveloped me completely. Looking at that handsome face, darkened by storm clouds, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. So beautiful, absolutely stunning. How can someone in this world be so gorgeous, so wealthy, and yet so awkwardly endearing? Even though his hands trembled as they gripped my throat and his breath came heavy, he still put on that murderous act. If it weren't for the system freaking out. Didn't you do absolutely nothing? How is this person's favorability towards you already at 96%? I had no idea Gu Jiangshua had managed to win himself over to this extent. I couldn't help but feel a laugh bubbling up inside, tilting my head back to tease him. Yeah, pig butchering scams, cheat one, make one, Mr. Gu, would you like to give it a try? Gu Jiangshua let out a bitter laugh. How am I supposed to test it? You're going to do my laundry, cook for me, and give me money to spend. Me? No, your higher payment is for a different service package. Grabbing his collar, she pulled him down, inch by inch. Under Gu Jiangshua's widening gaze, she leaned in and kissed him just as imagined, soft, sweet, and pure. It was utterly intoxicating, impossible to pull away. My own breathing grew heavy from the intensity of the kiss. Gu Jiangshua remained rigid. Holding my head up for so long was tiring. With a sigh, I pulled back to catch my breath, as if snapping out of a daze. Gu Jiangshua then lifted my legs and wrapped them around his waist. Kisses rained down upon me. I could tell he was inexperienced. His teeth caught my lip, bringing the metallic taste of blood, yet I couldn't help but get addicted. Kissing and laughing, I murmured, Young Master Gu, are you satisfied with this service? Gu Jiangshua's body went rigid, and he abruptly threw me back onto the floor. He turned and staggered away. Xingxi, you cunning woman, I won't fall for it. Don't even think about tricking me. Me 11. The next morning, I arrived at school on time. Gu Jiangshua was already there. His ears flushed red as he pretended to nap with his head on the desk. I poked his arm, and he jolted upright with a start. What? The reaction was huge. Me, oh, just checking to see if you're still alive. Gu Jiangshua glared at me with a stern face for a while, then suddenly stood up and stormed out of the classroom. Lin Mo finally dared to come closer. Wow, Xingxi, you're so brave. When I came in this morning and saw him slumped over there, I just asked one question and he yelled at me. So scary. He's the only child of the Gu family. My parents say even they have to tread carefully around him. You're something else. Daring to look him straight in the eye without flinching, I flashed her a wide grin. Why would I be scared? Gu Jiangshua's favorability rating for me is already at 97%. Forget about saying anything. I could slap him, and he probably wouldn't even get mad. But I didn't say that to Lin Mo. The exam is coming up. Better start reviewing soon. I've thought it through. Grades really matter. First, make sure you get into a good university, so that even if things don't go as planned later on, you won't have to rely on manual labor to make a living. Gu Jiangshua spent a whole week buried in his studies, and a whole week feeling out of sorts. The day before Xie Zhishu's birthday, he showed up again. Xie Zhishu threw the card in my face. Xingxi, explain this to me. Where's the money? Me, so you're transferring out. Didn't I tell you my birthday was coming up, and what's that got to do with me? The icy tone left Xie Zhishu momentarily speechless. He was about to trot out his same old excuses, but I cut him off with a raised hand. At this point, Xie Zhishu, there's something I have to tell you. What is it? I've switched targets. Your business is no longer any concern of mine. Xie Zhishu's words caught in his throat, his eyes widening in disbelief. You, who did you replace me with? That's none of your business. Tell me, Xingxi, which goddamn other man have you set your sights on? I couldn't be bothered with him, so I turned and walked away. As I walked, I started thinking about finding a new place to live. Looking at Xie Zhishu acting like this, that idiot is bound to do something crazy one of these days. I don't need that kind of trouble. I decided to move on the spot. The very next day, I went and rented a short-term apartment near the school. I had the landlord toss everything but the essentials. Now, suitcase in hand, I'm ready to hail a cab. Gu Jiangshua suddenly appeared out of nowhere and took the item from my hand, straight into the trunk, then they shoved me into the back seat. The driver was the familiar butler uncle again. He nodded politely to me and said, "Miss Sheng, hello, madam has asked me to help you move." I felt a rare pang of embarrassment. "Sorry for the trouble." "Not at all," he said. "The madam mentioned that this is the first time the young master has liked a girl so much. He's been much happier at home and has a much better appetite. She's very grateful to you." Gu Jiangshua let out an exasperated shout, his face flushing. "Uncle Chen, shut up and drive." "Yes, young master," said Uncle Chen, giving me a wink in the rearview mirror. I glanced silently at Gu Jiangshua beside me, his neck flushed red and that glaring 99% on his forehead, and sighed inwardly. It's true, when you meet someone who likes you, you don't have to do a thing, they'll like you anyway. On the other hand, if someone doesn't like you, no matter what you do, they'll still find you a bother. Watching Gu Jiangshua and Xie Zhishu was like observing two contrasting case studies, making me realize more and more that there's something almost mystical about matters of the heart. Gu Jiangshua took me home and helped me settle my suitcase and clothes. He glanced around the room and couldn't help frowning. "This place is so small. Do you even get used to living here?" "It's not small at all. A 2-bedroom, 1 living room apartment rents for 2,000, which is already quite expensive." Gu Jiangshua always felt I was being hard done by. "Why don't you just move in with my family?" he'd say. "My parents are really open-minded, they wouldn't mind at all. Plus, we have plenty of space, and we have an ayi who handles all the cooking and cleaning. That way, you could focus entirely on your studies and ace your exams." That was such an enticing suggestion. I almost said yes. Old Fei shook his head firmly. "No thanks, I don't like to trouble others." Gu Jiangshua pressed his lips together and fell silent again. My heart softened, and I rose on my toes to kiss his lips. 12. It's not my fault, really, it's not. Gu Jiangshua looked just like a timid young bride, stirring up restless and distracted thoughts. My original plan was to take advantage of the chaos, hit 100% completion, and just be done with the whole damn mission. He's such a good person, I don't want to hold him back from finding a wife. After kissing for what felt like ages, Gu Jiangshua was still stuck at 99%. He was already getting worked up, but that number seemed frozen in place. Might as well go all in. "Is it really going to take getting to home base to move things forward?" Reached out to undo Gu Jiangshua's buttons just as her hand brushed against the firm abs. A loud knocking echoed from the door. "Xingxi, open the door. I know you're home." It was Xie Zhishu, his face twisted with fury, like a husband who'd been cheated on, slamming the door violently. "Gu Jiangshua, you son of a bitch, come out, or I'm kicking the door in." I startled, then opened the door. Just as Xie Zhishu lifted his leg to kick, he missed his target. He hit the ground with a thud, then sprang right back up. "Come on, finally decided to come out." "Me, huh, what's up? Something wrong?" "Xie Zhishu, yeah, there is. What is it?" He choked on his words, staring fixedly at me and Gu Jiangshua for a long moment, his expression suddenly turning strained and pained. "Oh my god, did you two just kiss?" "You definitely did, Xingxi, your lips are swollen." "Me, oh, we were just kissing. If you hadn't interrupted, we were about to get into a full-on battle." "Xie Zhishu, fuck, Xingxi, you're cheating on me." Behind her, Gu Jiangshua couldn't help but smile. "Classmate Xie, where did you get that idea? Your girlfriend is Lin Mo, Xingxi is single. How does me kissing her count as cheating on you?" "How does it not count?" Xie Zhishu snapped frantically. "She's my wife." "Gu Jiangshua, you don't know this, do you? I've been reborn. In my past life, she was my wife. After we married, she gave me everything, her first time, her money, her love, to help me start my business. She taught herself accounting and finance. When I first failed and was saddled with hundreds of thousands in debt, she worked 3 jobs to pay it off. Afraid of affecting my business, she went alone and quietly had 2 abortions. Xingxi loves me with all her heart. So tell me, what gives you the right to compete with me? What makes you think she would ever change her mind?" Gu Jiangshua stared at me in disbelief. I scratched my head, at a complete loss for words. Honestly, after transmigrating into this book, I've realized I do have a bit of a romantic streak. If Xie Zhishu hadn't awakened right when we first got together, I probably would have done all those things. Now, I tilted my head and said, "Xie Zhishu, forget how much I hate you right now. Just think about this. If Lin Mo found out you're barging into my house spouting nonsense like this, what would she think?" Xie Zhishu was momentarily choked. After a long pause, he finally said, "She won't know, me, not Necessarily. Then, lifting the phone, the call screen clearly displayed Lin Mo's name. Hanging up the phone, I shrugged. Honestly, after you were reborn, I'd already switched targets. We should have been completely unrelated, but you just had to show up right in front of me. Lin Mo is a good girl, and I can't bear to see her deceived. Now that she knows the truth, let's see how you manage to have your cake and eat it too. Xie Jishu panicked, took off running, and shot me a furious glare before he fled. 13 After he left, only Gu Jiangshua and I remained in the room. I looked at him calmly. You heard it, I'm actually a conquest girl, and you're my new target. I could have kept it from you, but you're too kind. I really don't want to lie to you again and again. If it bothers you, then we can just stop seeing each other. Gu Jiangshua looked at me in silence. What's the reward for successfully completing the conquest? Anyway, once the progress is complete, I can do whatever I want. What is it? I'm not sure, but you can make one wish, like returning to your original world, or gaining a fortune, things like that. I must have spilled the beans, because now I can't see the progress bar on Gu Jiangshua's forehead anymore. He picked up his coat and prepared to leave. Xingxi, did you ever like me? I don't know. Gu Jiangshua gazed into my eyes, a thick mist rising within them. Without a word, they turned and left. He left with resolve. I sighed, having ultimately failed to complete the task. From that day on, Gu Jiangshua, Xie Jishu, and Lin Mo seemed to vanish. After breaking up with Xie Jishu, Lin Mo went abroad to study. Xie Jishu didn't know what he was thinking, skipping the college entrance exam, going to work to earn money for a plane ticket, then chasing after Lin Mo. Gu Jiangshua never appeared again, and not a single trace of him was ever found. For a moment, I felt a hollow ache inside. Utterly defeated, I asked the system, feeling utterly dejected, do you think I'm a total failure as a person? I couldn't succeed in winning over 2 people in a row. The system replied gently, oh, don't worry about it. You win some, you lose some, but I lost twice. It's alright. We'll just have to try harder next time. I felt on the verge of tears. Forget it. Just punish me directly. Take my life or shock me with electricity, whatever. Let me pay for my sins. The system fell silent for a moment, then said, actually, I looked into this for you. The higher UPS said it's not your fault. It was the Time Bureau that messed up first, which caused your mission to fail. According to the original novel's timeline, you should have been able to take down Xie Jishu. Resting my chin in my hand, I sighed. Damn it, the latter part of that novel just brushes over me in a few lines, describing me as faded and past my prime, sharing a bed but not a dream with Xie Jishu. That's why, after reuniting with Lin Mo, he wanted to divorce me and pursue her. The system shook its head. Even so, after Lin Mo got back together with Gu Jiangshua, Xie Jishu finally realized that the one who's been by his side all along is you. Even though you've been diagnosed with cancer and don't have long to live, at least you can say you successfully completed the mission. I forced a smile. Thanks, system, you really went out of your way to comfort me. You're surprisingly sweet, you know, where? I let out a long sigh. As much as I hate to admit it, deep down, I already know what I really can't let go of is the one that got away. Gu Jiangshua 14 After the college entrance exam, the system delivered its feedback. It truly spared me from punishment, but the price was that I must remain in this world forever. The day it vanished, I wept because I feel like I've lost my lucky charm. He went to college and then graduate school, keeping his nose to the grindstone the whole way. Thanks to the 100,000 yuan I managed to get from Gu Jiangshua back then, I was able to work part-time while studying, and life wasn't too much of a struggle. After graduation, I smoothly landed a job at a major corporation. After working for over 2 years, I got promoted to a junior management position and even bought my own apartment. I also gained an admirer named Zhou Fan. He was a rather ordinary guy, but his eyes held a gentle warmth. He would carefully buy me bubble tea, ask me out to movies, and his sincere gaze made my heart flutter uncontrollably. I feel guilty, I know. Deep down I never truly let go of the past, those intense, passionate days of pursuit, and the person who pinned me against the tree, kissing and entwining with me. But there's no chance of meeting again, leaving only scars etched across my heart. I tell myself to move forward, forcing myself to accept Zhou Fan's advances, pretending to hint that he really is a good prospect. Just as I was settling into the routine day by day, my boss asked me to step in for him and sign a contract with a company on short notice. That's a company we've been working with for a long time. Ever since I joined, I've heard our leaders praise them endlessly for being deep-pocketed and influential. I still don't know why they chose our proposal. Stepping into GS, the lobby was so bright it made my heart tremble. I followed the receptionist carefully to the meeting room. We went through the standard procedure and signed the Q4 contract with their marketing department. As I was leaving, the GS marketing director politely offered to see me out. He gave me a warm smile and said, "I hope your company is satisfied with our collaboration." Hearing the client say that to the vendor, I was so taken aback I didn't know how to respond. I stood there speechless for a moment before finally managing to utter a single okay. Before I could say more, the elevator doors opened. A crowd of people emerged from within, the first two, even in suits, and after years apart, I recognized them instantly. Gu Jiangshua didn't even glance up, ignoring the marketing director's "Good morning, President," and strode past us without a pause. Walking beside him was Lin Mo, whom I hadn't seen in ages. She gave me a slight nod. My heart was suddenly flooded with a tangle of emotions. It seems the plot truly is unshakable. Lin Mo and Gu Jiangshua are destined to be together in the end. On my way downstairs, the marketing director struck up a rare conversation with me. He mentioned that Lin Mo and Gu Jiangshua were classmates who studied abroad together. Both are exceptionally talented. And in just 3 years after taking over the company, they managed to increase its market value by 7 or 8 times. Lin Mo is currently Gu Jiangshua's most trusted and capable assistant, and Gu Jiangshua holds her in high regard. Some people in the company even speculated privately that they were a couple, and they placed bets with really high stakes. My mouth felt sour, my heart ached, and my eyes stung with tears. Back at the office, I had a glass of lemon water that left my stomach feeling sour. Zhou Fan came running over to me and asked, "Xingxi, do you want to go see a movie together tonight?" I looked at his face, and tears fell. Okay, 15. It started pouring just as I was leaving work. Zhou Fan, holding an umbrella, tentatively tried to put his arm around mine. Seeing him like that, I felt like crying again, my heart heavy with guilt. I was just about to tell Zhou Fan to forget it, that my heart belongs to someone else. Suddenly, a car screeched to a halt in front of us. Someone flung the door open and yanked me inside. "What are you doing? Who are you people?" Zhou Fan cried out in alarm, but then I saw who was sitting in the back seat. It was the CEO of GS, who had just visited our company a couple of days prior. Xingxi was out that day, so he had to handle the technical presentation. The CEO's face was completely expressionless, yet the air of intimidation was overwhelming. Gu Jiangshua's face remained an impassive mask. Zhou Fan wanted to rush forward to save Xingxi, but then he saw Gu lower his head, pull Xingxi into his arms, and kiss her fiercely. At first, Xingxi struggled violently, but as the kiss went on, she fell silent. Seizing the initiative, she wrapped her arms around Gu Jiangshua's neck. The car window slowly rolled up, obscuring the scene inside, yet Zhou Fan clearly saw Xingxi's hand reaching to undo Gu Jiangshua's belt. The driver, quite amiable, gave Zhou Fan a nod. "Sorry, we'll be heading out now." Zhou Fan took a half step back, speechless. The car sped away, the remaining exhaust fumes, with the disheveled Zhou Fan standing still. 16. I didn't want to cry, but Gu Jiangshua was so reckless, his strength like he was trying to snap my waist in half. He carried me back to the apartment, pinned me against the shoe cabinet, and made me lean down to kiss him. I resisted, turning my head away, but he grabbed my chin and forced me to bite. "Be good, baby. Don't fall for anyone else, please." The moment he said that, I felt a surge of anger, jealousy, and all sorts of inexplicable emotions. I couldn't help but push him away and slapped him sharply. Gu Jiangshua didn't move an inch. In fact, he took another step forward. "Hit me again, baby." I slapped him again, this time with my other hand. Gu Jiangshua smiled. "Baby, you smell so good." He leaned in and kissed my neck. I'm really about to cry. Such a gentle Gu Jiangshua, just like the 18-year-old Gu Jiangshua. She couldn't help but collapse into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Overwhelmed with a sense of injustice. "Why did you leave me behind?" "I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. What took you so long, baby? I'm sorry." Gu Jiangshua pinned me down on the sofa. At first, I cried out of sheer hurt, but soon the tears took over completely. Screaming, lost in ecstasy, letting him do as he pleased. From dawn to dusk and back to dawn. My voice was hoarse, and I curled up in his arms before passing out completely. The next morning, I woke up to find a ring on my middle finger. Gu Jiangshua wrapped a towel around himself and was making breakfast. I asked him, "What's going on with Lin Mo?" "She is my secretary and the incoming general manager for the South China region. Looks like they really are the right-hand man." I stopped asking about the rest. My past experiences have taught me that life is unpredictable, and change will come whether we want it or not. I was lost in the joy of having found what I'd lost. My heart and eyes filled only with the desire to live the present moment with Gu Jiangshua. Don't dwell on the past, don't obsess over the future. Gu Jiangshua couldn't hold back anymore. After 3 months together, he proposed to me. I smiled at him. "So you don't mind that I'm a strategist anymore?" Gu Jiangshua shook his head. "Compared to that, I'm more afraid you'll run away." "Alright, if you're not backing down, then I'm certainly not either. I'll follow your lead." On the day we made our marriage public, Lin Mo gave me a gift with a smile, she said to me. Xingxi, thank you for telling me about Xiejishu back then, otherwise, I can't even imagine what my life would have become. You figured it out for yourself. Lin Mo said that after going to the US with her, Xiejishu stayed there illegally and became an undocumented worker. He stubbornly believed he was destined for greatness, only to meet his end in a foreign land, robbed and killed. Gu Jiangshua missed you so much when he was abroad, but he just couldn't bring himself to admit it, so he stubbornly kept pretending for so long. Lin Mo told me another secret. Knowing you were about to start work after graduation, I went to great lengths to deliver the contract to your company in advance, secretly using the signing as an excuse to find out about you. Tell me, isn't that just ridiculous? If he hadn't found out you had a strong suitor around, he'd probably still be sitting on the sidelines like a fool. Xingxi, you must keep a tight hold on this fool, don't let him get away. Only then did I realize how our tiny little company managed to secure contracts with GS for 2 consecutive years. So it was on his orders. It's been so long, I've almost forgotten. This novel's male lead is still being stubborn and stubbornly stubborn. When Gu Jiangshua finished his work and returned, he found me sitting on the sofa, lost in thought. Reach out and hold me close. He brushed my cheek with his hand. What's wrong, baby? I shook my head. It's nothing. Gu Jiangshua, is there something I've never told you? What is it? I love you. What? I love you. Maybe it was our first kiss, or the time he appeared out of nowhere to help me move, or how he saw right through my antics yet indulged me without a word. I don't know when it started, but my heart became filled with the name Gu Jiangshua. A joyful light bloomed in his eyes, so intense it felt almost overwhelming. Gu Jiangshua pulled me onto his lap, settling me astride his legs. He lowered his head and kissed me. Me too, baby, I love you so much. Thank you for waiting here for me to come back. The end. Extra chapter. The London night was pitch black and indifferent. Xiejishu had lost count of how many nights he had gone to bed hungry. He had stubbornly insisted on following Lin Mo abroad, but the moment he stepped off the plane, he realized he was utterly helpless. Lin Mo's family hadn't gone bankrupt yet, so they sent her to the most prestigious private school. There was a long stretch of security fencing there, guarded by sentries, making it impossible to get inside. Cold and hungry, Xiejishu suddenly realized he was no longer the golden boy he remembered himself to be in his past life. Even though he never won the heart of the one he loved, his life seemed to have been blessed with incredible luck. Start a business, fail, start again, and become wealthy. Success is as simple as breathing. It also made Xiejishu forget that, with every step he took, there seemed to be a faint figure by his side, quietly accompanying him. Who was it? Xiejishu recalled without effort. It was Xingxi, who has been with him since high school. She stood by him, building everything from the ground up, always quietly at his side. After reuniting with Lin Mo, Xiejishu couldn't contain the surging emotions within him. He would often look at Lin Mo's photo, longing to see her and hear her voice. As the one who shared his bed, Xingxi was well aware of it all, yet she never said a word. Quietly managing the household and caring for their only child, Xiejishu considered himself a man of enduring affection. Otherwise, he wouldn't still want to be good to the person he fell for at 16. But whenever he faced Xingxi, it felt like a mountain of stone was pressing down on his heart. Xingxi died of heart failure, a complication of her cancer. A tear clung to the corner of her eye as she passed, yet she refused to look at him one last time. Xiejishu's heart ached as if cut by a knife. He couldn't tell if it was love, but he knew his own cowardice and compromises had ruined both himself and Xingxi. Given a second chance, Xiejishu resolved to be brave. He was determined to follow Lin Mo, no matter the cost, and so, he found himself stranded on a foreign street. Xiejishu's death was sudden. A homeless man tried to snatch the half-eaten burger he was clutching. When Xia refused to let go, the man stabbed him, and that was it. In a daze, he felt his spirit detach, drift across the ocean, and arrive before a villa. In the room, a woman in a white knit cardigan gently cradles a child in her arms, leaning down with a tender smile to soothe them. The man beside her bent down, holding a toy, and smiled as he said something to the child. Then he kissed the woman. The woman smiled, her expression incredibly tender. It's Xingxi and Gu Jiangshua. They got married and had children. Xiejishu was suddenly struck by the memory. He, too, had once had a home like this, a sofa just like this, and a gentle wife waiting for him to return. He longed to return. There was where he belonged. Xiejishu's chest tightened with a sharp pain. and he realized he could never go back. From the day he abandoned Xingxi, he had no home anymore. The end. Story 2. The video of my boyfriend proposing to me in Iceland suddenly went viral on the internet. The number of likes exceeded 10 million within a few days. We once became a couple blogger on the internet with millions of followers. Netizens exclaimed that we were the absolute pure love, and my relatives and friends all envied me for having both a successful career and a fulfilling love life. No one knew that on the day Yuchi proposed to me, he also ordered a bouquet of flowers separately to coax his ex-girlfriend. It's just a proposal, just for the sake of traffic. The only person I've ever loved in my life is you. Don't be angry, I'll bring you a small cake. In the dark living room, I lay on the sofa, tossing and turning, clutching my abdomen. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the originally dark living room suddenly lit up brightly. Immediately, a pair of broad and warm hands covered my cold feet. Yuchi's low voice was mixed with a sleepy nasal tone. Baby, your stomach hurts again, why didn't you wake me up? I looked up at him. As Yuchi spoke, he went to get a cup of boiling hot water and then skillfully put a tea bag of brown sugar and wolfberries into it. I was covered in cold sweat. Only when I felt the burning temperature of the cup in my palm did I feel a little better. Yuchi's drowsy expression became much more awake. He held me in his arms with a bit of heartache and patted my back again and again. I wish I could bear these sufferings for you. I didn't say a word but obediently curled up in his arms, and even the tip of my nose was filled with the faint cold fragrance on his body. My eyes couldn't help but glance at the camera in the corner. Sure enough, it was on. The flashing red light was like an eye that kept blinking. It seemed that there were countless eyes quietly peeking at our lives outside the camera. I spoke in a hoarse voice. Are you recording material again? Yuchi gently placed his chin in the crook of my neck, his breath rising and falling. Yen, this is our job after all. I looked up, and my calm gaze pierced through Yuchi's eyes. Then can you still distinguish between work and reality? Yuchi's eyes flickered, and then a trace of confusion appeared. What do you mean? I shook my head and said softly, it's nothing. He raised his eyebrows and stood up straight. I'll go and cook porridge for you. My gaze followed his movements. When he walked into the kitchen, I heard the sound of the gas stove being ignited, and then there was a rustling sound. The silver moonlight outside the window crept in quietly through the blinds. Early morning, moonlight, kitchen, boyfriend, millet porridge. Each word combined is such a vivid noun full of the flavor of life, but my heart couldn't warm up because my boyfriend of 2 years had cheated on me. Yuchi's phone rang suddenly in the silent living room. Just as my hand was about to touch his phone, he quickly picked it up. I stared blankly at him, and my inquiring gaze swept over his cheeks inch by inch. He looked down at the screen as usual, and his tone was also faint, with a hint of impatience. There's still something going on at the company so late. Before I could answer, he walked towards the balcony. I stared at his hasty back, and tears fell from my eyes without warning. Yuchi didn't know that I had actually already looked at his phone on the day he proposed to me. After we got back to the hotel that day, he put his phone on the table and then went to the bathroom. Because I trusted him completely, I never checked his phone. But that day, looking at the frequently lighting up screen, I somehow opened his phone. He didn't even lock it. I easily clicked in. Obviously, he was chatting with someone. The chat box also showed the words that the other person was typing. Yuchi had deleted the chat records very cleanly, leaving only a few recent messages. Yuchi, you bastard, you actually proposed to a woman other than me. It's just a proposal, just for the sake of traffic. The only person I've ever loved in my life is you. Don't be angry, I'll bring you a small cake when I get back. Then I want the strawberry flavor. The phone vibrated, and a new message came in. Iceland is so beautiful, you have to take me there next time. I stared at those messages without blinking, and my heart sank like it was filled with cold lead. The taste of being betrayed was like a bolt from the blue, or like being poured a basin of cold water from head to toe, making my whole body go numb. Just when my mind went blank, a strange call came in. After answering it, I instinctively held my breath. Mr. You, I'd like to confirm with you. Do you want the flowers you ordered from our store to be delivered to Xinguan community at 9 o'clock tonight? It was the delivery person, not the woman who was chatting with Yuchi. But in just a few seconds, Yuchi's cold rebuke sounded behind me. Mu Yan, my fingertips holding the phone trembled. He quickly walked up to me, snatched the phone away, and involuntarily raised his voice. What are you doing with my phone? I held back the stinging pain in my heart and said calmly, your phone rang. I thought there was something urgent at the company, so I answered it for you. His pupil shrank sharply, and then he returned to normal. Oh, is that so? He asked again. Who called? I sensed the nervousness in his tone and his gaze secretly sizing me up, so I pinched my palm hard, trying my best to keep my tone normal. The flower delivery person. He let out a sigh of relief, and a layer of fine sweat even appeared on his temples seeing that my expression had turned a bit cold, perhaps realizing that his tone hadn't been very good just now. Yuchi coaxed, "I'm sorry, Yen. It's not that I'm afraid of you looking at my phone, since you already know that I ordered flowers. I won't hide it from you. I originally wanted to prepare a surprise for you after we got home. Did Yuchi forget that today was the day he proposed to me? There was no shortage of flowers at the scene. Could he really come up with such a lame excuse?" I looked at him calmly. At that moment, I suddenly felt that the man I had liked for 2 years in front of me was so clumsy. Yuchi was very handsome, especially those peach blossom eyes with thick eyelashes. When he looked at you seriously, it seemed as if they were full of burning emotions. I had fallen for his affectionate eyes countless times, but I never thought that this was a trap he deliberately set for me. Yuchi walked out of the balcony, and the memories came to an abrupt end. He began to put on his coat. "Baby, there's something at the company that I need to deal with. I'm going out for a while. The porridge will be ready in half an hour. Pay attention to the time. Be careful when you lift the lid of the pot. Don't burn your hands." I didn't respond, just stared heavily at the clock hanging on the wall. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. What could the company possibly have going on at this time? He had already used the same false excuse countless times. He couldn't wait to go and accompany that woman, right? I couldn't help but think, what excuse would she use to call him away? Was it the same as me, waking up in pain during her period in the middle of the night, or was it just simply expressing her longing for him? But no matter what, she had succeeded. The man who had just gone to the kitchen in the middle of the night to cook porridge for me because he was worried about my stomachache was going to accompany another woman in a blink of an eye. Thinking that the relationship I had carefully managed for 2 years had suddenly fallen apart, a feeling of depression suddenly welled up in my heart. I slightly lowered my head, my shoulders slumped, and I buried my head even lower, and my eyes became hotter and hotter. After Yuchi got dressed, he squatted in front of me and touched my head. "Does it hurt again?" There was an uncontrollable heartache in his tone, as if every word he said came from the bottom of his heart. For a moment, I even hoped that I had misunderstood him. Maybe the truth wasn't what I thought. A glimmer of hope ignited in my heart, and I said sullenly, "Can you not go?" Yuchi's clear voice carried a hint of coaxing. "Our baby is the most obedient. Brother will come back to accompany you after finishing his work. You obediently finish the porridge. If it really hurts too much, then..." He stopped in the middle of his sentence when he saw my trembling shoulders. I covered my face with both hands, and gradually, some wet liquid overflowed along my fingers. Yuchi noticed my abnormality and instinctively lifted my face, and then he stared in surprise at me with tears streaming down my face. Big, hot tears fell and hit his arm. My chest heaved violently, and the emotions that had been suppressed in my heart suddenly burst out. "Yuchi, it hurts so much. Can you not leave? Can you not abandon me?" I admit that it was despicable and spineless of me to keep him by showing weakness in this way, but at that moment, my heart seemed to be drowned in thick emotions, and I couldn't make a calm decision for a while. I was waiting for the day when I would be completely disappointed. Yuchi's eyelashes drooped. He stared at the few teardrops that gathered at the corner of my eye and then slid down. His Adam's apple rolled slowly. The phone in his pocket was still vibrating continuously. It was like a reminder. A determination gradually appeared in his eyes as he looked at me. In the end, Yuchi still took out his phone without hesitation and cut off the call. He closed his eyes again and hugged me tightly in his arms. He didn't say a word. After a while, his hoarse voice sounded above my head. "Baby, stop crying. When you cry, my heart breaks. I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay at home with you." I suddenly couldn't understand him. Yuchi went to take a shower in the bathroom again. When he came back, he held me in his arms from behind. Lingering kisses fell from between my eyebrows to my chin. There were still dried tears on my face, and Yuchi planted a heavy kiss on my cheek. Yen, I'll never make you sad again." I thought I would be happy to hear such words, but my heart was unusually calm. I knew clearly Yuchi couldn't do it, and I couldn't continue to deceive myself spinelessly. Yuchi fell asleep soon. I reached under his pillow and touched his phone. He had already deleted the chat records very cleanly, and he had even deleted the chat box with that woman. Suddenly, I thought of something and clicked into his Douyin account. A flood of 99+ notification messages poured in, almost all from our fans. Yuchi recorded the whole process of proposing to me that day. He edited it into a video and posted it on his personal account. As a work, the popularity of the video was still rising. What happened a few days ago was still on the popularity top list. #Yuchi and Muyan's proposal. #my favorite couple blogger. #pure love is invincible. I casually clicked into a few hashtags, and there were videos edited by fans of Yuchi proposing to me. In the video, The trembling hand of Yuchi when he took out the ring was magnified. The dense barrage was filled with the same comments. I cry every time I watch Yuchi's trembling hand. And his turn to look. Please everyone fall in love like this before getting married. I looked at the red eyes of Yuchi in the video. I just couldn't figure out how he could perform the act of loving me so perfectly. My fingers kept sliding on the screen. We had shot no less than hundreds of video works in the past 2 years. We even gained millions of followers. I always thought that Yuchi's kindness to me came from an instinct, but I never thought that every time I raised the camera, he had already injected false elements of performance. What's more, I also had some responsibility that I couldn't escape during this period. As a creator of media videos, I was too eager to present the best state of our relationship to our fans, so much so that in the end, we went from simply recording at the beginning to deliberately repeating the performance later because we were not satisfied with a certain clip until we shot the most perfect version. During this process, it seemed that both of us had put on a mask. It was just that Yuchi got tired of acting later, while I was deeply trapped in it and couldn't extricate myself. After watching for a while, I was just about to exit the software when I accidentally slid my hand and opened the account switching page. That's when I noticed that Yuchi had a secondary account. He only had one follow on that secondary account. I opened the girl's homepage. She was actually a small blogger with more than 100,000 followers. Her latest work was a chat record, posted 3 days ago. 0030 ex-husband is in pain. The reply on the other side, then go and die. 0045, you dumped me in the first place. Why are you in pain when I'm not? 200, where are you? Dead. 300, so funny, you disturb others and then go to sleep. 315, are you really asleep? 540, I brought you breakfast, get downstairs. The caption, hee, why is someone in such a hurry? A humorous chat record was paired with the latest popular meme song, and the number of likes actually reached more than 200,000. Many people commented below, actually, he loves her to death. Update the follow-up quickly, I want to see it. The blogger is so beautiful. How handsome must the ex-husband be to make her take the initiative? I think I know who this ex-husband is because the picture of the puppy wearing sunglasses was exactly Yuchi's WeChat avatar. The date of the chat record was a week ago. I clearly remembered that Yuchi had a high fever in the middle of the night that day. I didn't sleep all night and stayed by his side to take care of him. During this time, he picked up and put down his phone countless times with a troubled expression. I thought there was something urgent at the company that he hadn't dealt with yet. Now it seemed that he was just waiting for her to reply to the message later. I couldn't help but fall asleep around 5 o'clock. When I woke up, I found that he was already gone. I couldn't help but laugh bitterly in my heart. It turned out that he was in a hurry to get up early to buy the steamed buns stuffed with minced meat that she liked the most from South Street. In less than a few minutes, the girl posted a new work. It was a photo. It was a bouquet of flowers. The caption was, someone came to coax me. I enlarged the photo and, as expected, found that on the address that was mosaicked, 2 characters were faintly revealed, Xinghe, associating it with the previous delivery call. It was almost certain that this was the bouquet of flowers that Chiyu had sent to the woman he was chatting with on WeChat on the day he proposed to me. They say that women in love are like Sherlock Holmes. In just a few minutes, I confirmed that this woman was Chiyu's ex-girlfriend whom he had been with for 5 years, and also roughly figured out the time when they started hooking up again. Counting from now, they had been ambiguously entangled for 3 months, and I had never noticed it before. The girl posted the new work at around 5 o'clock, and there were still very few people who liked it. I opened her comment section, and the first thing I saw was her own comment, you broke the appointment. A few seconds later, this comment was deleted. I twitched the corners of my mouth. I guessed that Yuchi didn't go to see her tonight, and she also stayed up all night. Then, I restored Yuchi's phone to its original state and put it back in its original place. Yuchi, who was sleeping, instinctively hugged me. I was trapped in his arms and could only stare blankly at the dark ceiling. The sense of calm in my heart just now completely disappeared. I wanted to cry but couldn't, and I found it ridiculous but couldn't even laugh. The next day, Yuchi got up early. He tentatively called me softly a few times, Yen. After confirming several times that I was still sleeping, he got up and went to the living room to make a phone call. My eyes slowly opened. I had something to deal with yesterday and didn't have time to tell you. Watch the fireworks. No. Today is the 2nd anniversary of me and Mu Yen. There seemed to be some kind of argument on the other side, and Yuchi didn't speak for a long time. After a while, he let out a soft sigh and spoke as if compromising. All right, my little princess, I'll think of a reason first. My hands clenched into fists trembled slightly due to the emotions I was desperately suppressing. Just separated by a wall, My boyfriend was brewing how to fabricate a reason to deceive me in order to accompany his ex-girlfriend to watch the fireworks when Yuchi came back from work in the evening. He chatted with me casually. The company has signed a few new anchors recently. Those kids have great potential. Oh, he noticed that I wasn't in high spirits and took out a box from behind him as if by magic. Did you think I forgot what day it is today? Here, I prepared it a long time ago. I reached out and took it. Inside the box was a Bulgari necklace. I didn't show a delighted expression as he expected. Just like before, the upward curve of Yuchi's mouth froze, and he put down the camera he had just raised to record. What's wrong, Yen Yen, don't you like it? I gently shook my head. No. He let out a sigh of relief and opened the camera again. I'm glad you like it. Then let's record another video. Yen Yen, your expression just now wasn't good enough. When I heard Yuchi's words, I subconsciously frowned. Do the things we present to our fans have to be so deliberate? In fact, what I wanted to ask was that if we weren't running an account together, would Yuchi even be too lazy to act anymore? He seemed to not understand why I would say such a thing at all. Yen Yen, the content of our account is mainly about the daily life of a couple, performing the things that fans want to see as part of our job. I stared at him blankly. Then is your kindness to me just to complete the work? He froze in place and suddenly fell silent. Yuchi seemed to have never thought about whether our relationship would still have any meaning once it was away from the camera. He sat quietly opposite me. He didn't smoke, but he let the cigarette burn between his fingers. Wisps of smoke passed by his eyes, and his eyes were always fixed on me. Yen Yen, don't think too much. I definitely love you. Yuchi said it sincerely, as if it came from the bottom of his heart. It was as if the person who had been lingering and entangled with his ex-girlfriend wasn't him. I lowered my eyebrows and said softly, there's a fireworks show in Lucheng recently. I want you to accompany me to watch the fireworks for our second anniversary. Yuchi was suddenly taken aback and almost instinctively retorted, not today. I closed my eyes and asked in a hoarse voice, why? Didn't I just tell you that the company signed 2 new anchors recently? I need to show them around and get them familiar with the business. As he said this, his eyes subtly swept over my eyebrows and eyes. It seemed that he was observing my reaction. I blinked my eyes. Okay, then you can go. My tone was as calm as ever. Yuchi secretly let out a sigh of relief, and a trace of joy appeared on his eyebrows. Good baby, I'll take you out for dinner after I'm done with my work. After he went out, I took a taxi and followed him. Yuchi first went to Xinguan and picked up his ex-girlfriend. The two of them stayed in the car for about 20 minutes before starting the car. During this time, my whole body was tense, and the overwhelming feeling in my stomach surged up to my throat. Wave after wave. Jiangjing Bridge was the best place to watch the fireworks. At 7:50 in the evening, there were quite a few people standing under the bridge. Most of them were young and sweet couples. Yuchi was fully armed and covered himself up tightly. He stood in a hidden corner with his ex-girlfriend, and I stood less than 10 meters behind them. Won't your girlfriend be angry that you came out to accompany me? She won't know. The girl let out a satisfied hum and casually hooked her arm around Yuchi's. Her tone was filled with uncontrollable sadness. It turns out that you can propose to someone after being in a relationship for 2 years. But I've been waiting for a long time. 5 years. I accompanied you from having no car and no house to having both. During the tough times, I ate instant noodles and boxed meals with you. You said you would never let me down in this life and would make me live a good life. When you didn't have a car, you rode a small motorcycle to take me around every day. It was always inconvenient for me to wear a skirt. Later, you bought a car. Unfortunately, I only sat in the passenger seat a few times before getting off. Yuchi turned around to look at her. From my perspective, I could see his tense jaw. This was a sign that he was getting emotional. Ayan, you're the one I really want to propose to, he called her in a trembling voice, and his tone was filled with overwhelming sadness. I will always remember that day when Yuchi slowly knelt down on the white snow under the pure dark blue sky in Iceland. He took out an exquisite ring from his pocket, and the emotion in his eyes for me was so sincere and passionate. Mu Yan, would you like to be my wife? After he finished speaking, the aurora in the sky became his foil. At that moment, the whole world was silent, and I just nodded gently. We hugged and kissed. At that moment, it seemed that time stood still, and there were only the two of us in the whole world. I naively thought that the vow crystallized at sub-zero temperatures would never change, but I never thought that the person he really wanted to propose to wasn't me at all. 5 years. They had been together for a full 5 years. Lin Yan's name had occupied most of Yuchi's youth. How regretful he must be. The wind by the river was very strong. The messy flying hair was like vines with thorns, slapping my face mercilessly one after another. It seemed to be laughing at me as a joke. In the end, I didn't know who took the initiative first, and the two of them kissed each other inseparably. At 8:59 I held my cold phone and called Yuchi. He impatiently hung up. I continued to dial. The last time, he couldn't bear it anymore and answered, Mu Yan, are you crazy? I'm busy here. At exactly 8 o'clock Beijing time, the silent sky in Luqing was completely illuminated by the fireworks in the sky. Lin Yan beside Yuchi happily jumped up and took his hand. He held the phone in one hand and held her hand with the other. There was gentle doting between his eyebrows. But he shouted harshly at me on the other end of the phone, is there anything else? If not, I'll hang up. I was so shocked by his shout that I instantly became quiet. I desperately suppressed the smell of blood surging up in my throat and said softly, Yuchi, when the fireworks are lit, will you remember that today is our 2nd anniversary, or will you make a wish to get back together with your ex-girlfriend? Yuchi was stunned in place, he didn't speak, and there was only the sound of the wind passing through the phone. As if sensing something, he turned around and met my eyes. A thin layer of redness welled up in my eyes like the rising water, slowly spreading to my eye sockets and dimming my eyes. A look of panic flashed across Yuchi's face, and he instinctively let go of Lin Yan's hand. Just as he raised his foot in my direction, I turned around and disappeared into the crowd. He urgently shouted behind me, Yan Yan. When I got back to the car, I opened my phone, and nearly hundreds of private messages immediately flooded into my Douyin account. This account was my personal account, not the one that Yuchi and I used to create couple content, but everyone still came to me to urge me, hoping that I could update the video of today's 2nd anniversary with Yuchi. I uploaded a photo. It was Lin Yan and Yuchi holding hands side by side under the Jiangjing Bridge just now. Then I tagged Yuchi's ID. Sorry, everyone, the video may not be updated. My boyfriend accompanied his ex-girlfriend to watch the fireworks on our 2nd anniversary. Just when the popularity of the video of Yuchi proposing to me hadn't subsided, the photo I posted on the internet caused a huge stir. Everyone was incredulous that the man who had taken such good care of me in front of the camera on weekdays would cheat, and they made comments like they would never believe in love again. Yuchi was busy doing public relations, claiming that all of this was just a misunderstanding, that he hadn't cheated, and denying that the person in the photo was him, and he asked the company to take back my account and immediately delete the work I had posted. The matter continued to ferment. There were many people fanning the flames in the comment section, saying that apart from a blurry photo, I didn't have any substantial evidence to prove that Yuchi had cheated. Everyone was waiting for an official explanation from us. During this period, Yuchi called me countless times, begging to meet me, but I never answered until the last time he stood downstairs in the new community I rented for a whole day and finally fainted on the ground due to low blood sugar. I called 120 and sent him to the hospital. In the hospital, Yuchi lay sickly on the hospital bed with a pale face. When I saw that he woke up, I wanted to turn around and leave, but he grabbed my hand tightly. His voice was hoarse. Yan Yan, do you only want to see me when it's come to this? I coldly pulled my hand back. We've already broken up. There's no need to see each other again. Yuchi was stunned for a moment and said firmly, Mu Yan, I won't agree to the breakup. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. I know that you were with Lin Yan for 5 years. You broke up because of some unavoidable reasons. Now, breaking up with me to make up for your past regrets, isn't that a good thing? After I finished speaking, his hand clenched into a fist turned white. At that time, her family didn't agree with us being together and forcefully sent her abroad. Then we broke up. Now that Lin Yan's family has encountered some changes, she's back in the country and is all alone. As a friend, I just want to help and take care of her, that's all. Meeting my inquiring gaze, Yuchi pursed his lips. I admit that I still have some regrets about her, but that's all in the past. I sneered. Your care is really thoughtful. Ditching his girlfriend on the anniversary to accompany her to watch the fireworks. Yuchi heard the sarcasm in my words, moved his lips, and finally only said one sentence, Yan Yan, you should know how hard it has been for us to build our account to what it is now. I looked back at him with a calm expression. He continued, being able to make a living from traffic and the self-media is an opportunity that many ordinary people can only dream of in their entire lives. Can you say that if you didn't have the identity of this blogger, you would be better off than you are now? Could your mother still be living in a high-class ward that costs several thousand yuan a day? Mu Yan, you're not a child anymore. In life, you not only need love but also bread. Feelings are not as simple as you think. They are inherently intertwined with many things. Everything is false. Only when there are interests between people can the most stable relationship be formed. Just like Yuchi and me, because of the identity of a couple blogger, we rise and fall together. Choosing to break up means losing a huge fan base. I pointed out bluntly. Are you trying to force me to do public relations with you to stabilize the fans? Even if there's no more love between us, we can still be contractual lovers. Yuichi raised his eyebrows non-committally, he leaned back on the pillow again, and the previous look of guilt in his eyes completely disappeared. I'm not forcing you. I just want you to think about it carefully in a mature way. If you lose the account and the traffic, what will happen to your current life? Think about your mother who is still lying in the hospital bed, and your father who is an alcoholic. Mu Yan, if you insist on going your own way, you know better than me what awaits you in the future. I heard the threat in Yuichi's tone, looking at his cold and distant eyebrows and eyes. I couldn't help but think of the past, when Yuichi first chased me. Once, his love for me was so sincere and passionate. He was so good that I thought such a bright person shouldn't belong to me. The problems in my original family made me extremely sensitive and inferior. When I repeatedly hesitated and stepped back in the face of his enthusiasm, doubting whether I could hold on to such happiness, it was Yuichi who told me, Mu Yan, you're great, really great, I like you the most. If you're insecure and afraid of pushing me away because of your personality, you can keep confirming with me. I'll firmly tell you that I love you again and again. I love both your brightness and your brokenness. At that time, I felt that the clothes that had been damp and wet on me for more than 20 years were finally going to be dried by the sun. That feeling of being firmly chosen was like huge waves, almost making me faint with happiness. Later, during the process of creating video content, I mentioned more than once that Yuichi was the light that saved me from the darkness and led me to grow step by step. The label of a sensitive and inferior girl and a handsome and mature man voluntarily accommodating her was full of contrasting highlights and traffic. As expected, we became popular. Everyone said that the relationship between Yuichi and me was like a lonely and lost girl meeting her own exclusive island. My personal growth experience gave some simple comfort to those girls who, like me, had been hurt by their original families. Everyone hoped to meet a prince who could save them from the darkness, just like I did. But was that really the case? Was the person I waited for really a prince? No, he was just a businessman good at scheming. Because he knew me well enough. He knew better than anyone else where my weaknesses were. I once thought he was my safe haven, but now he could also use my weaknesses as a sharp dagger to stab deeply into my heart. We had a meal after that day, and of course, it ended in an unhappy way. Before we parted, I asked him one last question, putting aside those deliberate and false elements of performance. Yuichi, outside the camera, did you ever love me? In his silence, I got the final answer a few days later. It was within my expectation that Lin Yan came to see me. We found a quiet coffee shop and sat opposite each other. After Lin Yan took off her sunglasses, I saw the faint grayish blue under her eyes. Because of my photo, netizens dug up a lot of clues. After quickly deleting all her works, Lin Yan became the prime suspect of Yuichi's infidelity. Troubled by public opinion, her life was not easy. Mu Yan, I was with Yuichi for 5 years. I firmly thought that we could accompany each other through this life. Later, we separated for some unavoidable reasons. During those years abroad, I thought of him all the time. Later, when you became popular on the internet, even I, who was far across the ocean, learned about that vigorous love story, and I finally gave up. But after I came back to the country, he not only took the initiative to contact me but also suddenly appeared every time I was helpless. I know he hasn't forgotten me. I know it's shameless and despicable for me to come between you two. I'm not without scolding myself, but I just can't help it. As soon as I see him, I think that even if I have to be a mistress that can't be put on the table, I'll accept it as long as I can be by his side. She almost choked up at the end and couldn't speak with red eyes. I felt a bit complicated at that moment. My instinctive reaction was to dislike her. No matter what the reason was, she shouldn't have interfered in someone else's relationship, especially as an ex-girlfriend. But as a woman, I could also empathize with her situation. 5 years. How many 5 years can a woman's youth have? She accompanied him to live in the narrowest rental house and ate the worst takeout. If it wasn't for extreme love, which woman could, with such a firm belief, accompany a man with nothing through endless hardships? So, between slapping her and giving her a pack of tissues, I handed her a tissue. Have you ever thought that, in fact, he's not worth it at all, and the reason you thought you had to separate back then wasn't actually that difficult? A plane ticket doesn't cost a fortune, and waiting for you for 3 years isn't that long, but he chose to be with me instead. The same is true now. After being with me, he still couldn't let go of his ex-girlfriend. Perhaps in the objective proposition of love as a one-on-one relationship, for Yuichi himself, it's always a subjective choice. His heart never stays for anyone. Putting interests first is his life creed. Lin Yan was stunned for a moment and finally picked up her bag and left. There were no melodramatic scenes between us. No hysterical quarrels. We just had a calm conversation. When I got home, the lights in The living room were already on, the smell of food wafted over. I saw that familiar figure in the kitchen. Yuichi was skillfully cooking. I instinctively glanced around to see if there was a camera, and surprisingly, there wasn't. Yuichi simply cooked a few home-cooked dishes. As he brought them out of the kitchen, he urged me to wash my hands. Why do you have the key to my house? I had some free time last time and made a copy. I washed my hands in silence and didn't say anything more. He picked up a piece of sweet and sour spare ribs, which I liked the most, and put it in my bowl. As if nothing had happened between us, I broke the deathly silence in the room. I've thought it over. We should break up. A trace of pain flashed in Yuichi's eyes. But don't worry, I can cooperate with you in public relations. Let's part ways amicably. All the profits from our shared account will go to you. I won't ask for anything. After I finished speaking, his hand holding the chopsticks trembled, and his hoarse voice sounded, "Are you really determined to break up with me?" I took a sip of water and said softly, "Yuichi, I'm tired of acting with you. The original intention of creating this account was to simply record the bits and pieces of our lives. But you also know that it all changed in the end. The love I yearn for isn't this kind of mechanical performance. It makes me feel that your kindness to me isn't from the bottom of your heart." His eyes read. He trembled as he reached out to hold my hand. "If I say that all my kindness to you was from the heart, you won't believe me, right?" I said calmly. "Not to mention the past, even your attempt to keep me now makes me feel that you're just acting." Yuichi lowered his head in frustration and quietly lit a cigarette. His voice was very unsteady. "I didn't even know that I'd become just a performing persona in your heart now." Yuichi sat there expressionlessly, smoking continuously. Finally, he got up and left. A few days later, the public opinion fermented again. Netizens found a lot of traces of communication between Yuichi and Lin Yan on Lin Yan's Weibo. When Yuichi was pushed to the forefront of the storm, he posted several chat records on Weibo. These were from the time when we just started dating. At that time, I didn't know how to love someone. Because of my insecurity, I was always worried about losing him. Every time we quarreled, I instinctively refused to communicate. Yuichi intercepted many incomplete chat records and, with his captions, explained the situation of my original family, creating an image of me as someone with psychological flaws who always demanded emotional value from him and secretly carried out cold violence against him. And he also described how he loved me and how he firmly embraced me after being hurt by my sharp personality again and again. In his clarification, he also downplayed the relationship between him and Lin Yan, saying that they were just old friends and that he himself hadn't done anything out of line. There was also a diagnosis certificate showing that he was diagnosed with severe depression attached as a picture. I have to say that Yuichi had some expert guidance in this move. It successfully shifted the focus away from his infidelity, and the public opinion took a big turn. As expected, people with problems in their original families shouldn't be in a relationship. They're like blood-sucking mosquitoes, just constantly demanding from their partners. Yuichi really had a hard time. It's already good that he wasn't driven crazy by depression. He really loved. He wanted to save others but ended up falling into the abyss himself. I was so angry at his shameless behavior that my whole body was shaking. It was clearly him who had cheated, but in order to maintain his online persona, he chose to shift all the blame onto me. He even didn't hesitate to attack the most painful part of me. I instinctively wanted to speak out and fight back, but since my account had been taken back by the company and the password had been changed, when I posted works with a new account, there was basically no traffic, and the works would even be maliciously reported and taken down. Yuichi wanted to make me a mute and force me to bear this unjust accusation in silence. I never thought he could go this far. Our 2-year relationship was truly just a tool for him to make a profit. When the situation reached a boiling point, Lin Yan posted several graphic contents on her social account, completely confirming the fact of Yuichi's infidelity. The public opinion reversed again. I never thought she would help me, and in a way that damaged herself. I asked her why, and she said that since the incident happened, Yuichi had been desperately trying to distance himself from her. At that time, she wasn't unaware that she might end up being scolded and hated by everyone, but as long as she could be with Yuichi, she was willing to bear all of this. But she never expected that she would be abandoned by Yuichi again. He was so cold and easily denied everything between them. At that moment, Lin Yan clearly realized Yuichi couldn't bear to lose the popularity and topics that came with being with me. He couldn't bear to lose everything he had now, and those 5 years between them had already ended completely the moment they broke up. Nothing was left. The last words Lin Yan said were, "Today, Yuichi shifted all the problems onto you to protect himself. Tomorrow, it's very likely that he'll say that I seduced him to save himself. I've been too stubborn all along. I couldn't let go of those 5 years of memories, but I never thought that the Yuichi in my memory had long since disappeared. the evidence that Lin Yan finally exposed completely nailed Yuqi to the pillar of shame. More people stood up to speak for me, and many big bloggers helped me release the complete chat records. In fact, except for being a bit awkward and not good at expressing myself at the beginning of our relationship, I had never carried out cold violence against Yuqi. On the contrary, when I was with him, I repeatedly adjusted my mindset and tried my best to be a better partner. When a large number of fans learned that my personal account had been taken back, they strongly urged me to create a new account of my own. All the fans that Yuqi lost came to my side. I changed from a couple blogger to a lifestyle blogger. In order to convey a positive and optimistic attitude towards life, I innovated many ways of expressing content. Coupled with my delicate writing style, I attracted a lot of fans. There were also different voices in the comment section. Is there anyone who became my fan after I broke up with Yuqi? Immediately, a pair of broad and warm hands covered my cold feet. Yuqi's low voice was mixed with a sleepy nasal tone. Baby, your stomach hurts again. Rather than waiting to be saved, it's better for us to become that light ourselves. Due to the infidelity scandal, Yuqi's popularity plummeted to the bottom. Wherever he appeared, he would be spurned by people. His comment section was even invaded by my indignant fans. Bro, you're so good at acting. It's really a waste of talent that Hollywood didn't invite you. Backstabbing cheater bro. This time, even if Yuqi fainted countless times downstairs in my house, I didn't go down to see him. He was finally broken down by the popularity that he had always pursued.